Live,
Oh,
baby.
we live and in color. Here we are on fucking Twitch because that's where we do our podcast. Ugh.
That was a good intro.
Yeah.
That was great. Man, you know what? I saw your fucking temperature and like you're saying that's warm. I'm going to tell you it's not that cold here, but I feel like I'm fucking freezing.
Oh, dude, it is 32 is not warm, but it has been so much colder. And now, like, we have so much snow, and the temperature sort of is staying
Yeah.
around the freezing temp. So, like, what happens is the snow just ices over. And so you're just like sliding everywhere you walk when you go outside. It's just ice, you know? And it's not snowing anymore. Snowing would help, you know, because then you'd have fresh snow to walk
Yeah.
on. Yeah, so it's a motherfucker. I'm gonna go get another beer.
Okay. Did they say who's going to be the coach of the Chargers? In the meantime, is it Kellen Moore?
I don't know if they've released that yet. I didn't see it when I looked at the ESPN article.
Oh, I got to fucking. Whoa. Who said it was. What? I got to finish watching that. Have you watched Asteroid City?
Oh, I haven't even. No, I haven't watched any of it. Where'd you watch it at?
It's on one of the streaming services.
Not one that I have. Who does? It's got to be Fox. So it should technically be on Disney then, right?
I don't know. It's like on Peacock or Paramount or something.
Okay, yeah.
Or fucking Amazon. I don't know. It's somewhere.
Is it good? Are you a Wes Anderson fan?
Yeah.
Though?
Yeah. I love the Royal Tenenbaums. It was great. Fucking Ben Stiller in a tracksuit the whole movie.
How many of Wes Anderson movies have you seen?
Not as many as I should have. I've seen Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Never mind. We don't have to send Daniel. He's back.
I'm back.
Back, bitches.
I'm back, bitches.
Now you're.
Is Richard staying with you, Daniel?
Yeah, he's staying the night here.
Is
Staying in
his
the, chill room?
him and his boy?
Yeah, him and Gage. Yeah.
Go ahead and turn your volume up a little. Now you're
My
low.
volume up a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay, well actually I was adjusting shit earlier and kind of put it a little bit farther away from me the way I normally am. But here, this is me normally. This is going to be me. Do I need to come up some?
Yeah.
Are you good?
I did fuck with the volume earlier.
No, turn it
How
up.
about that? That's good?
Turn it up more.
That's almost all the way up.
Turn it all the way up.
That's all the way up. That's
Okay.
all the way up. Is that okay? It's all
Yeah, I
the way
guess
up.
so. I guess we'll make it work.
I guess it's gonna have to work.
All right.
But
All right.
anyway.
So this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, T-Mobile has this tower, and it's Wi-Fi, and if it picks up phone signal, you have internet. And apparently, this guy that was showing me is this big gamer and like a real gamer, where he's fucking doing raids and the shit that you used to talk about, Bone. So he's got to have good internet, and he's went through all these different internet options for being on the boat. And he was like, "This is it." He was like, "Dude, this fucking thing will give you boat internet across the boat, and it's really fucking good." So that opens up possibilities to be able to do it on the boat. Now, obviously, we would have to be like, "What day can we all do it?" Bones like, "I'm off on Wednesday." Josh is like, "Hey, Wednesday's cool with me." Me, I don't know. Even if we're in the middle of fucking recording, the phone could go off and be like, "Hey, we got to get you guys to such and such." Now, if we're doing this shit at 2 o'clock, that should never be a problem for me whenever it comes to be getting interrupted unless there's an emergency and I had to get pulled or whatever, and like they were needing me to go fuck with it. The only other issue is that sometimes we'll be running and it'll be loud, and sometimes we'll be in the fleet or dock and the engines will be off and it'll be pretty quiet. So that will need to be there will be a need to be adjustments and stuff like that made, but and this is in the future because there's a whole lot of other shit going on. In the future, possibly might be able to start recording on the boat. So we'd be able to get a lot more fucking done. You know what I mean?
What is that
How
noise?
There's not a sound going off in my house.
Is it you, Josh? Is it like there's something going clack, clack?
do you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
Okay. I didn't think I couldn't even hear it. Okay. Yeah, I was popping my
That's what I was
ankles.
saying, like,
I'm a reasonable
everybody.
guy, but I've been doing
Hey,
To your fucking ankles.
I didn't know anybody could hear. I couldn't hear it. Like my feet are underneath the table, and like we've got this. I don't know. It's an old sewing table that somebody made into a table. So I've got this like iron thing at the bottom, and I didn't know you could pick up on it. Jesus, but Daniel, let's just say we do that, and that's awesome.
hold on, let me correct you. Let's just say I do that, and it's awesome. Continue.
Well, yeah,
There was a lot of ifs in your statements too.
a lot of ifs, and I was wanting to address one of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
How often do you get a call?
I mean, it's constant work and stuff like that. But the only, like I said, hold on, the call thing would never happen, right? Because that's the other part of the information. I got a boat, dog. Oh shit, I'm a captain. Oh, that's tight. But
Oh,
that
you're a
means
captain?
yeah, man, fucking finally made it.
Oh, you didn't fucking. This is big news, and now you're just like springing this on us like this is like some whatever type thing. Fucking Daniel, captain.
Yeah, I'm getting Courtney to make me a fucking shirt that it's a white shirt and it's gonna be the Captain D's logo, but instead of saying Captain D's Seafood, it's gonna just say Captain D. So it's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, man, the captain fucked up. Hold on, are we streaming? We're not streaming.
Yeah,
right?
we're streaming.
Okay, well then that's a conversation between.
Yeah,
us
you may
two,
not want to
but-
talk about business on air.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But anyway, whatever. I was in the right place at the right fucking time, and boom, I got a fucking boat. So
Well,
now
congrats.
I'm always on. Thank you. I'm always on front watch, which means that at 2:00 I'm off. I'm off every single day from 11:30 lunch to 5:30 in the afternoon. So that would mean that we would have to be wrapping shit up by 5 to where I could fucking get a shower and get back on.
Oh,
watch.
you know us. We don't talk for very long.
Yeah. I don't think that I'll be at the end of any of those episodes. Gotta go.
Come out,
Anyway,
guys.
title card. Oh man. But anyway, so there's a possibility that we might be able to do our thing. The biggest issue is going to be the noise. Now, unless somebody comes in and says, "Hey, the fucking boat's on fire. We need you out here," or it's an emergency, then it is what it is. There was an emergency. But if everything's chill and smooth like it most of the time is, the question is just going to be, hey, is the fucking boat noise too loud? Which it's a loud ass, it's a fucking boat, you know what I mean? So it's like 2,400 fucking horses. So it's not like it's unbearably loud, but for this where we like for it to be quiet, might not be able to do that, but we could give it a shot.
Well, you could, now that you're a captain, you could invest in a better mic, and then you could adjust the gain, and it would actually cut down on background noise, because you can adjust, like, on a higher end mic, you can adjust the noise suppression.
I have a $100 mic. How high end do I got to get?
3. No, not 3.
3 more levels of high.
No,
end?
no. Probably what you need, actually, you don't need a new fucking mic. Your mic is fine. You need a new computer that can actually run the software for your. Because remember, we tried to install the software on your computer for the microphone, and it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Do like Josh said, and get you a nice computer. You got.
No, or just a new computer.
You
Like
got
I don't
it.
know how old that computer is, but computers now are pretty decent. You ain't got to spend like an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah, but this one ain't that bad, man. It ain't that old.
I mean, you showed us a picture of your futon.
Huh?
I mean, you showed us your futon. Like, I don't know if you were trying to show us your computer or what, but we saw your fucking futon.
I'm fucking recording on my computer.
Well, then what were you
I
doing?
know, that's why it's so funny. Like,
Yeah.
what were you doing? Like you were
Yeah.
trying to show us your computer.
Yeah.
I am. Y'all can't
That-
see it when I flip it around?
That is a nice futon.
You see it? It's a Vizio.
It's a
that the buddy
Vizio.
gave me. Oh shit! No, I was looking to see if the year was on the bottom, but I'd have to go inside the computer to see what year. But the fucking thing. How long have we been doing this podcast?
3 years almost.
3 years. This is probably a 4-year-old computer.
Yeah. Was it bought new?
Yeah, I bought
No,
it.
he got that. He got that shit from Cash America when he worked there.
Yeah, I went and rent to owned it from Aaron's. I actually spent about $8,000 on it. It's a $500 computer.
They're gonna come repo my computer.
Oh man, yep. they fucking got all kind of shit in there. They'll repo.
It's like that Louis C.K. joke, honey. They're coming to repo the lamp today.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Holy shit! Yeah, but when's the last time you watched Dream Warriors?
Wait,
How long ago was it?
Hold on. Let's
About a month ago.
I was gonna say let's get into the actual podcast and then ask him that.
Okay, I was just curious.
Right.
About a month ago.
All right, hold on. We're about to start for real. This,
God damn.
hold on one sec. I forgot.
Give me an hour and a half. I'll be right back.
Do you have notes, Daniel?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Alright.
Here we go. You ready?
Wait.
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, you got your notes.
No. No, because see, I feel like what's happening.
Wait a minute. Wait a
You
minute.
just
Wait a minute.
just hit record, man, and we
I
just
did.
go.
I did hit record. So real quick, welcome to Very Unreasonable Things, the podcast where we give Daniel shit about his notes. Anyways, so when we just a second ago, Josh was asking Daniel. And today we're covering Dream Warriors. By the way, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're covering Nightmare on Elm Street
Hey,
Part
everybody.
3, Dream Warriors. I'm Billy Bone. With me, as always, is Josh Lindsay
Howdy.
and Daniel Sanders.
Oh, hey.
All right. So, Dream Warriors. When's the last time you watched it, Daniel?
I watched it about a month ago. What about you, Josh?
Today.
Today. What about you, Bone?
Today.
Okay.
Like right.
Did y'all watch it in preparation for the other times we were going to record, but things
No.
fell through?
No.
No.
So you all would have been unprepared then, but y'all were prepared now.
No. I like to watch it. I like to watch the movies now, right before I go live.
That's what I used to do. Yeah, that's what I used to
And
try
it-
to do.
oh, I know,
Where
'cause you
watch
would
the
come in
movie
with
like
no-
the night before.
You would come in with no notes, and you'd be like, "Yeah, cuz I didn't take any notes."
That's only on me and your shit. I know. On the us three things, I've been taking notes.
Oh,
I'm trying to
okay,
keep that
okay.
thing going.
Oh,
But on me and you, we just
you just don't give a
watch
fuck.
it and talk about it.
I still take notes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I did say we. My bad.
I take
no.
notes. I was gonna say I take notes for every
just
episode of
watch it
mine.
and talk about it.
I take notes.
I have tried a couple of times the no notes thing, and it gets a little dicey sometimes. Like for me, like what's going on, what's happening. But I've tried that a couple of times. I mean, but I don't listen back to the podcast, so I don't know if they suck or not. So I mean, keep it rolling, keep it moving.
He doesn't even listen to our episodes anymore.
Who? Josh? Or
Josh.
me?
Yeah, he doesn't listen to me and you.
I don't
Daniel, do you listen to Mind and Bones?
No, well, I haven't listened to any of your guys because I was going to watch the movies, but then I just got so far behind. I don't even listen to ours anymore.
God damn.
We need those numbers, though. God damn. Me and Bone were looking at the numbers. We got to pump those numbers up. So tell your boys to Just
All the numbers are my boys. What the fuck do you want me to do?
that's true. That's true.
It's
Tell
like
him to
people I work with and Michael. Hey, shout out to everybody.
Well, but look,
Hey guys,
your
go
son,
Genesis
your
and go
your
5-star
son's a
for
pretty
him.
big deal in high school. I'm sure he's got influence.
I think that we want to try to keep him a pretty big deal by not having him push this podcast.
Why
I
do
don't
you?
want
It's
to
probably best.
street cred.
Why do you hate the success of this podcast so much, Daniel?
No, I loved it for a long time, and then y'all forced the hate on me. Now I'm just as fucking jaded as you two. Fuck this podcast. Fuck everything.
I mean, we don't even get
Talk
paid for
shit,
this.
I'm wearing a shirt.
That I don't have.
Podcast.
This is like the second time there's been a shirt and I've been left out.
Do you know how fucking hard it is to get the motivation to go to the fucking post office and mail a whole ass shirt to somebody?
That's a pretty big ass
What the
bone.
economy's doing. I'm pretty fucking tired all the time. Come by and see me bone, and I'll have a present for you. When you
Come by
get
and see.
here.
I'm trying not to drive to Mississippi anymore. I'm just going to Louisiana now.
Oh,
No, I do plan. I got some time off
when's
coming
the
in
last time you
February.
came to Mississippi?
It's been a minute.
I want to know the exact time you went last.
Well, hold on. I gotta respond to a question on the Twitch machine here. Oh yeah, and they're saying that you can print labels from home and drop it in a box. So you ain't got no fucking excuse. Cause
Oh man. How do we turn the comments part off of Twitch? If they're not helping me, I don't want to fucking hear about it. Oh,
yeah,
God.
we are only.
Fucking fam.
I'm gonna answer this question real quick. We are only recording on Twitch. I mean, we're streaming on Twitch, but we record. We post on Spotify, iTunes, all the major things. Now, Daniel, back to you being a lazy piece of
Yes.
shit. Print a label, mail it to me.
I'm sorry, you froze up. What'd you say?
Oh, did I? I said print a label and mail it to
You
me.
didn't freeze up on.
It did look like Josh froze up for a second. He was like, oh,
Yeah, I'm just enjoying this. I'm just here for the ride.
for the, yeah.
When's the last time? Oh, no, we already asked that question. I'm sorry. When was the last time you watched Dream Warriors before you watched it for this podcast, Josh?
Well, I tend to put mainly Halloween, Friday, and Nightmare on just in the background. So I mean, I've had it on in the background, but just sat down to watch it. It's been a few years, actually.
Which series do you find yourself putting on more often than the others?
Halloween.
What about you, Daniel?
To be honest with you, it's probably Friday the 13th. Because usually whenever Friday the 13th happens, I carry on the tradition that we used to do as kids and, watch a few of the episodes. Which I'm sure a lot of fucking Friday the 13th fans do still, where they might pop on either the first one or their favorite one or the one that they
Yeah.
love to shit on the most and get fucked up and laugh at,
It's Friday the 13th is probably the one that I go back to the most often, too. Just because I think there's more entries. Well, there's more entries into Friday the 13th films where I'm like, let me watch that, if that makes sense. Or because with Halloween, you have a fast degradation of quality, right? Like you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is just. And 6 is just, and I don't know about Resurrection because I still haven't watched it. I refuse to watch it until it's time to watch it.
Well, Friday would be a very close second. I tend to when I'm just putting on something to either just in the background. I tend to start at 4. Actually, I don't know. It's just something about Halloween 4 that's very cozy.
I like Halloween 4.
I do too. I do
Okay,
too.
I always thought you hated it.
I mean, look, there's problems once you get past 3.
Yeah, but I mean, I just thought you didn't like it.
No.
I thought you didn't like 4, 5, 6. I knew you were a big resurrection fan. I know you were like
I mean, that's horse shit.
you're all about the
Whatever.
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah. No, I like 4.
Motherfucker.
You know, for somebody who hasn't seen it, you sure do know that.
No, it's been popping up on that fucking. I told you that YouTube channel I was watching, and I watched a review on it, and he just like clips that part and plays it over and over.
Yeah, well, he could. There's a lot of that movie you could clip to make fun of. In all fairness.
Hell, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did Daniel go? He just up and bailed on. He's practicing for getting calls when he finally starts recording on the boat.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah, this is a dry run.
Yeah, let me pretend like I got a call. Hayden, call me. Give me a ring, even though you're in the next room over. Here he comes. He's back.
What I miss?
Nothing. Dream Warriors, or Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors, 1987. Had a budget of $4.6 million. Made a smooth $44.8 million. Directed by Chuck Russell, starring Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, Patricia Arquette as Kristen, Heather Langenkamp as Nancy Thompson, and John Saxon, one more time, as Donald Thompson. So there we go. We got all the particulars out of the way. Let's start, I guess, with Josh's favorite question. What's your history with the movie?
Oh, yeah. It's a good question. Daniel?
That is a very good question. You want me to go first?
Nah, Bone can go first.
Street 3 is, what?
What?
Go ahead.
Bone, you go first. You go, Bone. You go
Okay.
first, Bone. Let me guess. You watched it back in The Gap?
Well, I don't know if I care for your tone here, buddy. I wasn't the one that volunteered me to go first. That was Josh.
Back in the day. No, I was making a joke because you're old. Because the old people say back in the Gap instead of back in the day.
You
like
know
younger
what?
people like me and
You know
Josh
what?
say.
Josh is in his 40s. Josh is with me.
Josh is old as fuck now. You are right.
Yeah,
I'm
and
still
you-
young.
And you'll be here soon
like I
enough.
was born yesterday.
You'll be
No,
here.
40 will be the new like 20 by the time I'm up there.
Yeah, I got you. So, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 for me was it was one of those movies where I saw it in Fangoria before I actually saw it, and you would fucking look in the magazine and you would see all the pictures and you'd be like, man, that looks cool as fuck, dude. I need to see this movie. And I saw it the first time I saw it. I was living in Georgia at the time in a trailer park, and I think 2 of my brothers had been born by that point. Anyways, we saw it at this woman's house. Me and some friends, or we saw it at this woman's trailer. It was, I don't know why it was the 80s, and you could go into people's homes and it wasn't weird. And you didn't get, sold off into human trafficking or anything like that. But anyways, I saw it with this woman. I can't remember like who she was or why we were there, but me and a couple friends were over there and she had it playing and we watched it.
How old would you say if you had to ballpark it?
Second grade. So
Was that like 89?
nah, was it? How old are you?
Oh, I'm just guessing. I don't know.
I don't know. So I was in kindergarten in 85, 86, 87, I guess.
Okay, when it came out. Yeah.
Hell, she was a fan. She rented that fucker as soon as it was available.
Yeah, hell yeah, and probably taped it to another tape.
Oh yeah, I
Always
forgot
had
about
it.
that.
For sure. Oh, yeah,
I
you gotta
forgot
get-
about
you
that.
Gotta get the double deck out.
Hell yeah.
What? Anyways, that was my long drawn out story about Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 when I first saw it.
Any effects on you at the time?
Yeah, well, I mean, it made me like into a horror fan. Like I'd already seen because this is like when I first started watching horror movies. like Nightmare on Elm Street is like my gateway to it. Like it was just looking at magazines before that and reading the books in school. Like I said, like we talked about before with the Universal monsters and stuff like that. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street was that entry point, and then like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 was kind of the one that just blew the doors off. So a lot of fond memories of this movie. It's, I guess, spoiler alert, but I love this movie.
A lot of people do.
Yeah. Except for you, Daniel. I know you're going to give it like 1.5 stars.
Did you look at my paper?
I did. Your son posted your notes on the internet.
Oh, he leaked my fucking notes.
Yeah, on danielsays.com. We have a website.
Does your son have much of a internet presence?
Who, Hayden?
Yeah.
Or Lucas?
Hayden's a
I was going to say
star.
Hayden.
What do you mean internet presence? Like, does he do a lot of social? Neither one of
Yeah,
them.
because he's right at that age, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like, I don't think that they're active. Like, I know they don't have like a Facebook, because Facebook's for old people anyway.
Whoa,
now.
wait a minute.
But-
Yeah.
Hayden
Well,
does.
no, that's the truth. Yeah, like
Because
the
he's
older
popped up
people.
on people I may know.
Hayden
Yeah.
has a Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh damn, that's crazy. That's what I miss about being an audio podcast. We could edit things out if we needed to.
I mean, we still have to edit it out when it goes to
Oh,
the
You
main
don't have to
feed.
do
No,
shit.
no, Daddy.
Fucking
But Bone ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah.
Bone ain't
Yeah.
gonna
I
do
don't blame
shit.
You've mistaken
I
me
don't
for
blame
somebody that edits this podcast. that
we
was
used to.
that was when we first
All three
started.
of us used to give a shit about this podcast.
Well, no,
and
we
I
got
think that slowly.
we've
yeah,
gotten
it's
better
Josh
though.
than Bone than me. They just don't really care.
A lot of our bad habits that we had before, we don't do as much anymore. We don't have. Well, we still have pauses sometimes. Like me and Josh had a when we talked about. It wasn't New York Ripper. It was Tenebrae. We had a tough time talking about that movie because it just melted.
But
our
we
minds.
went in knowing we wouldn't.
Yeah.
It was gonna be tough to talk about. In all fairness.
Have you seen Tenebrae?
Me, no, I have not seen that movie.
I'm going to require you to watch every movie that we talk about from now on, whether you're on the episode or not. I want you to come back and give your thoughts.
Get right on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to work on that immediately.
Good.
So Daniel, what's your history with Dream Warriors?
I mean, just like we've talked about before, I mean, like I said, it seems like, that Freddy Krueger's always been there for me anyway, because shit, coming up, I had older people around, so they were wanting to watch movies, like the horror movies and shit like that, and obviously I want to watch them with them. And then a lot of my friends had older brothers too, so it was kind of like I was seeing it through them, and then my friends were seeing it through their older siblings, so we all knew about it. Since
Like osmosis.
been around.
Yeah.
And that's what we've talked about before about Freddie being a pop icon, is that he's always there for us. And so I don't remember the first time I watched it. I was very young. But I did like it. I did love it. I do remember that part. It was pretty damn good. Oh, I'm sorry. Did y'all think that after 50 of these I was going to get better at this? Because you both have the look of, here we go with this guy being uninteresting as fuck. Surprise! It ain't
It
gonna
is-
change.
It is funny though because it's been a while since us three have done it.
Yeah, it has been.
Excuse me. And so like it's been you and Bone or me and Bone. And it is kind of a different dynamic because like with three people, and we all do this remotely. Like if we were like in the same room, it wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be, like this whole podcast exists remotely. So you're sort of waiting on a person to finish because you don't want to interrupt. But if we were together, like the conversation would be more flowing, and just be natural. So it's it has been a while, so there is like these awkward pauses. Not to be rude or anything,
Yeah.
but because you don't want to interrupt anybody, or you know. But
And there is the pause situation, like you said. I mean, because you have to kind of wait, but also like me just talking right on top of you just then. I'm sure it took about a second and a half or 2 seconds for you to even hear me fucking talking. So
Yeah,
it's
so you
a
always
hard
have to-
thing to work around.
yeah, but my history, very briefly. I know I sort of touched on this, whether it was the primer episode that we did before we started this
The
project.
pilot, baby.
Well, see, if
Or the
this-
pilot.
If this is the story I think it is, this is worth it. This is a good story. So take
Yeah,
your
this-
time with it.
Damn. Now, if this isn't the story you think it is, you've just hyped it up.
Yeah, I know, right?
I only have like 6 stories, so his chances are pretty good. But
Yeah.
like Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one was like just so monumental to my fascination with horror because like my dad was working offshore at that time when it came out to rent, and so he was only home for like 2 weeks. And at that time, offshore guys they wouldn't pull in the kind of money that they pull now or just in the past 25 years. So back in those days, and I'm going to guess 1984 still, you had to rent a VCR because VCRs were just expensive. So his buddy Mike came over and they rented a VCR and they rented 2 movies. And one of them was The Karate Kid and A Nightmare on Elm Street. The first one, obviously. And my dad would, my parents were young when they had me. So they were like 23, And I remember not watching A Nightmare on Elm Street, but like behind my dad's back on the couch while the movie played. And I remember to this day the nightmare I had that night because of Freddy Krueger. So I had this sort of like this obsession with Freddy Krueger. So my dad, when he was home, and the one of the times that we bonded was he would take me to the movie theater when he was home. And that was like 1986. We'd go see Platoon or Top Gun in the theater. And I would just fall asleep, But he wanted to see him. I'd go to sleep.
Yeah. Eat popcorn, go to sleep.
Yep, that's it. And he wasn't a horror movie guy. But I put my foot down in 1987. Take me to Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
I have to see this, and I'm still like younger than my daughter is now. So he takes me to the little theater that we had in Carthage, Mississippi. One screen, one showing. And I get so scared. And I watched this today. I get so scared before the credits end. And we've seen this. The credits aren't even scary, but just the thought of Freddy scared me so much. The build up, I'm like, Daddy, I can't do this. We have to go. My dad, and we're poor. So he just paid these movie tickets and we leave after 3 minutes. And I remember the lady behind the counter gave me a sugar daddy, which if anybody knows what a sugar daddy is, let's say I'm 5. You do not give that to a 5-year-old who's growing new teeth. Sugar daddy is just nothing but caramelized sugar. And she gave it to me because we had to leave. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey. You have to go." And I remember the first time I watched this movie in its entirety, I was probably 11 with Aaron, one of our friends from back home. And even at this age, this movie fucked with me because I remember like he comes over, he's staying the night with me. He's sleeping on the floor. I'm sleeping on my little twin-sized bed. And in the middle of the night, I look up, and there's like, I could see directly to where I've got this hat rack, and because I used to wear a lot of baseball hats. And plain as fucking day, I see Freddy's fedora on there, just like the silhouette of it, and I kind of freak out. So this movie's always just resided in my soul as like, this is scary. This, to my DNA, this is scary. This movie, obviously I'm 33 years old now. I don't get
Yeah.
scared at that.
Now you
But-
can make it 5 minutes past the chalk drawn Freddy. Once she
Barely.
revealed that, Josh was out at 5 years old. He was like, "Fuck this! This is too much. This is my nightmare."
When she finished the house, I had to get my girlfriend to come in and watch the rest with me.
Yeah,
I'm like, I can't do this. But no, this movie's always had a special place for me. I mean, this franchise, and Daniel, I know you wasn't available in the episode, but there was a list of the AV Club's top 25 greatest horror movie villains. And number one is Freddy Krueger. And,
Was it top 25?
our top 30.
I feel like I might have labeled that video top 40.
It might have been top 40. Maybe. I don't know. But
Either that or I'm just
anyway,
an idiot.
but number one was Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
hell yeah. I
Yeah.
can agree with that just because like of the different things we've talked about. I mean, because it's not only it's like fear, which he fucking was scary as shit, but the him being an icon and him being a pop sensation, motherfucker going on Ricky Lake and different dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? So, like whenever you have a horror villain going on talk shows and things like that as that villain, like I mean, they've done something different. Because I mean, as far as I know that Jason went on like Arsenio Hall, right?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
But Michael Myers didn't go on anything, did he?
Because
Only two I could think of would be Jason and Freddy.
well, we'll get into that, but Michael Myers, after 83, he left until 88.
Yeah.
He came back in 88 when the genre was on its death throes, But yeah, and like you're saying, this pop culture icon. And to me, and I think we can, all three of us can agree, this movie is what solidifies him
yeah.
as that pop culture icon.
I think
Yeah.
the 80s were a different time too. Like the things now, like you're not going to see. Just to kind of give, I guess, if you didn't live through the 80s, give you an idea of it. Child murder now is not going to become a pop culture icon.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to go fucking crazy.
Like, they
and
were
let's,
making-
laugh while this child murderer kills teens.
But in the 80s, they were making cartoons out of everything. It didn't matter if it was
Yeah.
R-rated or not. RoboCop got a fucking cartoon. Rambo got a cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to think of.
Dude, RoboCop was blasting people's dicks off and shit. Too,
Yeah.
remember?
And outside of
He didn't fucking play.
then outside of like fucking cartoons and stuff, you had toys, lunch boxes, fucking video games. Just like it was a different time back then. Like it's like, oh, you just chopped that dude's head off. Here's a plushie we made of you.
Well, also, this was New Line Cinema's cash cow. I mean, they pushed all their chips in on Freddy immediately once they started seeing like a profit.
Yeah.
And all three of us, we really like part two. But they had to do a reset with this franchise on this one because where part two went, you couldn't continue that.
Yeah.
Part two is such an anomaly and such this sort of unicorn of a movie. So this was like a reset. Let's, Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one was what, like $1 million? $1 million budget?
Lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hell, this one was only, what'd you say, 3?
four and a half.
Yeah.
3, 4.5?
Mm-hmm.
So still, and like you said,
And-
they won a bunch of money at.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot of money for New Line at this time, and
Yeah.
they brought in Chuck Russell, who will eventually do The Blob the next year. He does The Mask, but Chuck Russell brings in his friend Frank Darabont, who at the time was just an up and coming screenwriter. That's one thing that Nightmare does have. Like they attracted more talent than Friday the 13th. A lot. You know, Frank Darabont, the fourth, when they bring in Rennie Harlan, who goes on to have a somewhat successful career in Hollywood. I mean, Peter Jackson wrote a script for Freddy's Dead. I mean, Friday 13th is not doing that.
Man, I think you're selling Crispin Glover and Corey Feldman short here.
No, I'm talking about the people to help to make this a reality. The writers, the directors.
I got you. All right. I guess I'll let you pass on that one.
And that being said, before we started recording, I knew that I was going to look up the script to Nightmare 3 that Craven had wrote with his writing partner at the time, Bruce Wagner. That Darabont and Chuck Russell came in and sort of had to... New Line Cinema got this script from Wes Craven, and they were like, a lot of good ideas, we cannot film this. And I decided, you can find the script online.
Yeah.
I found it with one easy Google search, and I was able to read it. Like in one sitting, it's about, you know, they say a page is a minute. It was about 117 minutes. You know, it's close to 2-hour movie. And let me tell you, it is... The title, the subtitle, Dream Warriors, like it makes more sense in the Craven script because they touch on it in the third act in this one. But in that first script, like there are actually like Dream Warriors. Nancy sort of brings them together. And Nancy isn't this Mensa level psychiatrist at 22 in this script. She's actually searching for her father, Donald Thompson, who is searching for Freddie. And she eventually finds him at Weston Hills because he got caught trying to burn down the house that Freddie was born in. And that's where she meets... He's not. They changed the name, but Craig Watson's character, the doctor.
Yeah,
Gordon, Dr. Gordon.
I read this earlier too. Like when I was reading on Wikipedia, and I was reading about some of the different things that had changed. And yeah, he had a different name, and Kincaid and Joey originally die, and like the powers are kind of on different people.
Yeah. And the only survivors is Dr. Gordon and Kristen.
Yeah.
You know, Nancy still dies, but so does Kincaid and Joey. And you read it, and this budget's $4.5 million. A budget would have been $10 million. Like Freddie turns into everything that he kills somebody in. And some of the ideas are so fucking wild. Tamron. They race swapped Kincaid and Tamron. Tamron was black. Kincaid was just a white guy. And they race swapped it. And Tamron, when they go into the final battle, and it's kind of all over the place, sort of like a Wes Craven script. And some of the dialogue is... You know, I have a problem with... I think Craven's ideas are great, but he needs somebody to go in there and sort of organize his thoughts because it's kind of all over the place. But Tamron, they go into the house that Freddie was born in, and Tamron hears her grandmother in another room, and she goes there. And her grandmother's like, hey, sugar baby, come here. Why'd you leave? She goes and she lays down. She sits in her grandmother's lap. She's like, oh, I miss you so much, grandmother. And then, like, the grandmother's stomach opens up, and it's like Freddie, but his mouth is her stomach, and he eats her.
God.
And the wizard character, he turns into a gargoyle, and Freddie turns into, like, a raven and flies around the gargoyle. And then the wizard character gets a net and tries to catch the raven. The raven turns into gloop to escape the net and then goes behind a door and then comes up behind the wizard character with a like a post digger. I mean, just fucking random shit. It's very violent. Freddy does do quips, but here's the thing though, and I'm not trying to like, take shots at Craven, but I remember Craven having a problem with part 2 when he entered the real world. Mm-hmm. Well, Freddy does that in this one. They crash into Kristen's parents' party, and just Krueger just kills Kristen's mom. This movie is very violent. I would love to see it on screen. I really would. New Line wasn't paying that price though. They wasn't. I mean, it was so imaginative and so out there. And like I said, like Nancy Thompson's just this chick trying to find her dad, and she's following these clues. And the movie opens up like that, and like it's wild. I recommend reading it because it just. And then you see what Darabont and Russell picked up. They're like, oh, that's a good idea. We'll take that. We'll take that. But what they didn't pick up was the actual Dream Warriors aspect of it. Because one thing about these movies, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, man. This movie, it's near and dear to me. But one thing about these movies, and I'm sure we've discussed it, was these posters, these theatrical posters, are absolutely beautiful, especially the first 4.
Yeah.
And you see this one, and it makes no fucking sense, even though I love it. Because I think there's a chick with like a mohawk.
Yeah, with a mace.
Yes, and it's just all this random shit. Now, even in Craven's script, they didn't have that. But they were more of a cohesive team. We're the war. They actually call themselves the Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
And it's a big group of them at the very end that Nancy sort of rallies. Like, let's go get them. And Donald dies. John Saxon's character. But in this script, he comes back. And I just finished reading this. This is sad. But I think Nancy realizes that it's Krueger, and she kills him. But because it's a Craven script, Nancy dies for some reason, even though she gets the drop on Freddy, because she's like, my powers are going because Freddy's dead. It gets out there. I highly recommend checking out this script because, I mean, it's a fascinating read. It really is.
Yeah, I could see that, and I could see that being pretty interesting. But I mean, yeah, if it's a first draft type thing, and he's like, "Hey, look, y'all want an idea? Here's my idea." Obviously, I'm sure that even for him, that there was probably some things that he would go in there whenever it came time for, unless that was his final draft. Like, this is what the movie I want made. Was that the situation?
I meant to go back before we recorded and watch Never Sleep Again, the Dream Warriors section. From what I remember, and I don't want to be telling tales outside of school, like him and Wagner brought this to New Line because I think they were both mutually kind of interested in working together again after part 2, and part 2 didn't really exceed expectations.
Yeah.
And I think he brought it to him, and New Line's like, we'll give you story credit on this, and I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, it's available online. I'm assuming this is the script he took to New Line.
Isn't this is the movie where Rachel Talalay started?
Line producer.
Yeah, started getting some influence, and I've shared my thoughts on a previous episode, and I'll share them again on a future episode. But for me, like Rachel Talalay's involvement in the franchise, just kind of it was kind of the turning point where it became more cartoony, and absurd and not scary, and it just seemed like we were making movies to be, making commercials, so to speak. Which not with 3. I don't think 3 did that, but like
Yeah.
when you watch 4 and 5, it's like
Oh, it is. It's so bad.
3 kind of straddles that line. Like he's got some quips in here, and
Yeah.
but they're still like it's the last Nightmare on Elm Street movie to me that's scary.
Yeah.
No, this is it. This is it.
And see, my thing is like, I think that when we talked about this before, I think what happened is like, yeah, the quips that it did have, people loved. People loved seeing a silly side of Freddy on top of being fucking haunting everyone's dreams in real life. You know, like everybody's dreaming about Freddy, everybody's having a nightmare about Freddy Krueger, this, that, and the other. But then you see a funny side of him and a goofy side of him. And then it's like, hey, and then they ran with it and they kept going, and then it pretty much turned into, okay, how much do we want to spend on it? And how are we going to have Freddy kill people in funny ways now?
Yeah.
That's where you end up with fucking a Nintendo kill. You see what I'm saying? Like, it all just, they took a thing that worked because they sprinkled a little, and they went and they focused on the wrong things, and that's where things will start getting campy and ridiculous. Same thing with Jason. Same thing with a lot of them, you know?
But the difference is Jason and Michael don't talk,
Yeah.
so they're not telling the jokes.
That's what I was
you
going
know.
to say.
Yeah.
And
I'm really meaning funny kills, and really more Jason than Michael.
Yeah.
In the movies, because that also started happening. Because before then, you weren't really seeing like. I guess I guess what happened is people enjoyed the silly kills and the little bit of silly shit that is getting a little campy in the Friday the 13th movies, and then they brought a little bit of that into Nightmare. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if whenever the producers and shit are like, hey, the people want to see more of these type things, so let's throw a little bit of that in there. And then, so Friday the 13th ruined Nightmare on Elm Street. You heard it here, people.
well, the fact that you could hear Freddy though, like you always had like Leatherface, Jason, Michael. They're these silent killers. But because Freddy can speak, doesn't mean he has to be entertaining in that sense, and you can see from this movie on is the snowball effect of where this franchise goes, and you'll see what people later on, and I've alluded to this earlier, what people pick up or they leave it be. And a lot what they pick up, I think, is the wrong direction that this franchise will take. Okay, Freddy can talk. He can say cool one-liners like a action movie. Let's pick that up. We'll talk about it later. Amanda Kruger. We'll pick that up. It should have been left alone because that's a part in this movie that is not needed, in my opinion. And they sort of forget about what makes Freddy scary past this movie.
Yeah.
And he's still scary in this movie. For the most part.
Yeah.
Can we all agree on one thing? Paper mache is fucking nasty looking.
Yeah.
It's a messy hobby.
Yeah. Because the movie starts off with paper mache. And I didn't like paper mache in school. Did you ever have to make paper mache?
I never had to fuck with it.
No.
What? Josh, don't lie. You're 40 something.
I mean, we
It's like
couldn't
I
afford
felt- I felt
paper
that
in
day.
Mississippi.
Couldn't
Well,
afford
you were
paper
out there in
now.
North Carolina.
Dude.
But let me ask you this before we get started talking about this movie,
Every
because
time I say something, Josh is like, let me go back to something else. This son of
yeah,
a
I've
bitch.
got a lot of notes here.
Every fucking episode.
Okay, but this is a good one. This is a good one, and I feel like we need to talk about it up top.
Let's make it all about you.
Jesus.
No, I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, which song is better, Dream Warriors or Man Behind the Mask? Because we've covered both those movies
Oh,
now.
well, so this is like my last note. Dream Warriors, best movie specific song.
Okay, there's your answer. Daniel?
Yeah, I think I'm going with Dream Warriors. That one pops into my head more sporadically throughout my viewings of these old horror movies, like horror movies whenever I get into shit. You know, I think Dream Warriors pops up more. That'd be my
Yeah,
choice.
likewise. Likewise. I think it's Dream Warriors. Man Behind the Mask has gone up in my esteem, but it's still behind Dream Warriors. I think Man Behind the Mask is. I used to not even care for it as a Friday 13th song or an Alice Cooper song. I kind of dig it now.
I was so since you brought it up, you know, me and my brothers and most of my brothers and my stepfather went to see Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie in concert. Did not play Man Behind the Mask. I was disappointed.
I'd be curious to how much rotation that gets.
I've
on a
seen it
tour.
on YouTube actually be played live, so I know they play it. They just didn't
Yeah.
play it at this show.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Maybe you need to be in Ohio. Maybe it's a New Jersey show.
Yeah.
Strictly New Jersey. That's it.
Or Alabama, or Texas.
Mamba.
No, I'm just talking about all the places they filmed.
Oh, yeah.
New Jersey, Alabama. Was it part 7 that was in Alabama, right?
Yes,
I thought it was Georgia. Or is it Alabama?
Yeah, it's going to be the New Blood.
Me and Daniel were supposed to take a trip
It's
one
on
time.
7. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One time.
We never did.
Fucking years ago. Nah, never did.
Nope.
Never did it. Hell, now the only thing that's there that you can even fucking like see was in the movie is a tree, like one specific tree. Because I guess, and that's if it's still there. That was something I saw a few years ago on like a YouTube video of somebody going and visiting it, and it was the tree that the little stake was stuck in and shit. But shit's wild.
Yeah, so Josh talked about a little bit. Well, he talked about Dream Warriors, but I have it in my notes also. Just like the intro song, they're playing "Into the Fire" by Dokken, and I love the song in the intro.
Yeah, the fucking song's badass. I love it too.
Into the fire. Ooh. I don't know the rest of it.
Did y'all talk about how Edgar Allan Poe was not a fan of naps?
Yeah,
No.
he fucking hated sleeping.
He did. Sleep, those little slices of death, how I loathe them.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't
Okay.
talk about that. We talked about
Okay.
It's
Into
a
the
pretty cool
Fire.
saying, though.
It is.
Yeah, we were talking about how badass Into the Fire was.
It is so good, yeah.
Yeah. And you got that first scene where Into the Fire's playing. She's using the paper mache and she's making the fucking house. And we've talked about this before, but you know, it's worth bringing up again. How did Nancy's house become the focal point?
Oh, I wrote this long in my notes. And I'm just going to talk about it because I actually, as I sit right here, right now, recording this, I have no problem with it. I don't. Why it is, don't care. But I get why they did it as a storytelling method because you need sort of like a base of operations, quote unquote, because Jason has the woods, Michael Myers has the suburbs, Leatherface has a farmhouse. Dreams is too broad. It's way too fucking broad. So just make it Nancy's house. Craven was trying to do it in that earlier script with Krueger's house that he was born in. And nobody fucking know. You know, I get why Darabont and Russell would be like, no, because nobody knows that. Nancy Thompson's house is kind of iconic from that first one. It was used in the second one. It's fine with me. It's fine. I get it. I get it as a logical screenwriting tool. You need something, a location that the audience can go to.
I find it hard to believe that that house is that dilapidated, though. I feel like
Well,
that market, that house would have sold. It would have
Oh
stayed in
yeah, it's a
upkeep.
fucking. It's only been a fucking year. It's
wait,
only been a year between 3 and 2, so that house should
But Bone-
definitely not have been that fucked up.
you're talking about the real estate market in dreams? Because this house is only available in dreams. Like
I'm
that's where
assuming-
people see it.
I'm assuming that I was assuming that the house in real life is reflective of the house in the dreams now.
Okay, so it's in Detroit now and not fucking
Yeah.
Ohio.
Well, kind of the same thing. Like, well, no, never mind. That was different movies. Well, it depends on what fucking timeline you're in on Halloween. I was gonna say because, like, the Michael house fell into disrepair after the murders. Too. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but you know,
Fuck
I mean,
off.
that was that was well, how long was Michael in lockup? Shit,
15 years.
15 years, 16 years, something like that.
15, right, Josh?
15. Maybe
God, it
16.
was.
He attacked he attacked Laurie Strode when she was like 17.
I think it was 15
It was
years.
63 to 78, right?
I think it was 15 years because I think he said he spent like, it was either 7 years trying to reach him, 8 years trying to keep him locked up, or 8 years trying to reach him, and 7 years trying to keep him locked up.
I mean, just great doctoring by Loomis there.
Yeah. It's like, fuck it. I can't reach him.
Like Michael Myers had an ear infection for 8 years and couldn't hear Loomis, so Loomis is just like, "Fuck him, he just needs to stay here."
Michael's silence could have been remorse, and Loomis misinterpreted that and then drove Michael further crazy.
That's right. All
But
because
that's-
the board was pressuring them to fucking be closing some cases.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, this one, maybe I don't know. This one, yeah, he's lost. You know, we just need to try to keep him in. You know, try to keep him locked up because he's just pure evil.
Just think if Loomis was the doctor for these kids in this movie.
Well, we wouldn't get a 90-minute movie. It'd be 10 minutes.
Loomis would have them.
Just go to sleep.
Loomis would be like, they're all crazy. Lock them up. They got the devil's eyes.
Hell, they're already locked up.
Keep them locked up. Quiet room for all of them. So we'll go back to the beginning though. So after the paper mache and after the dream where she's in Nancy's house, in which she's carrying the child, right? Because she sees
Yeah.
a little girl and she talks to her, and then they're trying to get away, and you kind of have a callback to Nightmare on Elm Street 1 when she's running and she gets caught up in some goop.
Yeah. That goop will always get you.
And then, Freddy almost gets her, but she gets away. And then the girl's like, "Put me down, you're hurting me." And then it's just a little skeleton.
Yep. Just a little
And-
skeleton in the dress.
And one of the things that this movie and the original Craven script addresses, which I love, and I think if they ever make a new one, in my mind, like I thought, like if I ever tried to sit down and write a Nightmare on Elm Street script, what you have to emphasize is the suicide aspect and the drug addiction. I think now you would have to address it. Like these kids use meth
Yeah.
to stay awake, and suicide is rampant. Craven really emphasized the suicide. Like all these teens are suicidal, but they don't know why they're suicidal in that script. And when she goes into this room with all these hanging bodies, I think that was Darabont and Russell kind of like leaning into it. They don't lean hard enough into it.
I actually noticed that this time when I watched it with the bodies, and they were all like, they had nooses around their necks.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that, I guess, like any other time I watched it, but I caught it this time.
And man, this house, I mean, this movie has got some great set designs. Like this looks really good, this house.
Yeah, we talked about it when we did the first episode, like the very first episode of Very Unreasonable Things that we later re-released. It was only available on SoundCloud for a while. But anyways, we talked about the sets in that movie, in the first three movies, and just that was something I always thought that the Nightmare on Elm Street series did well, was they had these good looking sets. These houses looked like real houses that people lived in. And then when they made like the dilapidated house or version of Nancy's house, it looks really good. Like it's really good set design, and you know the people that did that, you know, hats off to you.
Yeah. Great job. Now, the music, because it's all over this movie, and it is Angelo Badalamenti, which is a David Lynch guy. He did Twin Peaks. He's done good work, like what little I know of him. He was not the right guy for this movie. Did anybody notice the music in this?
No, I was
just-
listening to The Rock. I didn't really listen and take notes of the undertone music.
Yeah, next time you watch it, I don't know, like some of it feels like a chaotic circus in a way.
Daniel said he's never watching this movie again. He's only watched it 5 times for this episode.
Yeah, anything I've missed, you seeing that? Edward.
It's out now. Fuck it.
That's right.
So we got Freddy making these kids. Well, Freddy's attacking these kids though, and he's making it look like suicide attempts. Because with Kristen, we didn't, you know, and you talked about suicide, but we didn't talk about what happens with Kristen. Kristen wakes up from her dream,
A dream within a dream, which I love that fake out.
talks to her mom, you know, and it turns out her mom's got a guest over, and you know she's, you know, he's like, "Hey, where do you keep the bourbon?" And she's like, "I'll be right down." And she's like, "Oh, you don't want to keep him waiting." That's right, I don't. And then Kristen goes to the bathroom. And I guess I'll say the sink knobs that she has, I guess, don't really match the rest of the house, because this is a fucking nice house. Freddy's not killing poor kids. Like, I did notice that when I watched this movie again. Like, everybody's got fucking 2 stories, you know, palatial homes. Kristen's house is really fucking nice. It's really huge.
Yeah.
And then you got these weird looking like knobs on the sink that, and I know why they're there, because they turn into little fingers with claws, but they
Can't
do
really
look.
do that with a circle knob.
The extravagance of the house doesn't match the plainness of the fucking sink knobs,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that has to do with anything, but I just noticed it.
Yeah, you know, sometimes people wait for the bathrooms to be the last thing that they renovate in their house. They might have been renovating in the next year.
Maybe. But yeah, so Freddy, his arm, the sink knobs turn into like his hands and his arms, and he comes up and he slashes Kristen's wrist. And Kristen's mom comes into the bathroom, hears her screaming, and Kristen's holding a razor blade in her hand, and it looks like she cut her own wrist.
Yeah.
Which, you know, because we've
I guess
seen
that's sleepwalking.
in the past that what Freddy does to you in dreams affects you in real life, but we haven't seen it where something like this, where it looks like Kristen did it to herself.
Yeah.
And I love it. And
It does make more sense than some of the shit we saw before, where it's like, how do you think your kid did this to himself?
Well, and there's a death
You
in
know,
this
where it
movie that's like that.
Didn't make any sense, huh?
There's a death in this movie that's like that too, and we'll get to it. But yeah, you're right. It's like if you were killing kids and you wanted to look like accidents, and this is the way to do it,
Yeah,
because it looks like these kids are killing themselves.
exactly.
Whereas there's no way that Johnny Depp killed himself in part 1.
Yeah.
no, but that'll always get a pass because it's so iconic.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
It's so iconic.
I was gonna say someone had to turn the blender on that's inside of his bed, apparently, unless it's got the fucking switch right there beside it, because that's the only thing that could have done that to him.
And, you know, I know we said it during the episode, but, you know, there is even a line in the movie, the first one. It's like, oh, yeah, the coroner's puking his guts out. The one guy who should be able to handle this. This crime scene is so messy. The coroner is losing his lunch.
Freddy's nursery rhyme, pretty creepy, right?
Always. It's one of the best things Craven did for this character.
Yeah.
He added a nursery rhyme. And I think even in this movie, they talk about fairy tales. I just got done reading that script. I'm sorry. And I watched this movie. So yeah, so it's kind of going back and forth here. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that was in the script.
Yeah.
But
where you're thinking that like Hansel and Gretel, fucking popped in for a minute.
we'll get there. We'll get there in a couple of years.
I'll tell you what else. We talked about
Yeah.
we talk about the nursery rhyme, and that's kind of synonymous with Freddy. But another thing that's synonymous with Freddy that we can all agree to, right? Boiler room.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking whenever y'all were talking about the house. It's funny because, like, I get there needing to be a place, and but it's kind of, we've talked about this before, where it's a little choppy with him because, they went and they cornered him in some factory in town, and they fucking burned his ass up, right? And obviously, apparently, it was some type of boiler room situation that they had going on. But what is more important to Freddy's background? The place where his fucking hat and glove was kept after he was killed, or the place that he was killed at? You see what I'm saying? Like, because that's pretty much where those two things, the connections they have for him. Like, because who the fuck is Nancy and who the fuck are those parents, aside from assisting in the death of him? But she kept that shit in their house. That might be what brings you back there.
I think that both of them just kind of came together too, because you'll see now, like when you're in Nancy's house and you go down to the boiler room, I don't think it's supposed to be the boiler room or the basement of that home, because they asked the girl, the little girl that ends up turning to be a skeleton. She's like, what is this place? And she's like, well, this is where he brings them. And obviously, he wouldn't have been bringing them to the basement of Nancy's house. So I think they're, because it's in a dream, obviously, right? So you can have location A and location B be together, but still be separate.
Yeah, I was just going back on what we were talking about before, about the importance, and not even really talking about the third one, but the first one, the importance of this boiler room and this house. And now with the third one coming back to the house, the fact that it's Nancy's, I was just meaning that you have these two different things happening. And yes,
I wasn't disagreeing with you.
You would merge both,
Well,
Because it's
also,
like,
where did Nancy's mom keep the glove and the hat?
Yeah.
She kept it in the furnace.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's always this, and that's the reason why this Dawkins song is kind of brilliant, Into the Fire.
Yeah.
Because fire is such a big motif that runs throughout this entire franchise.
Wait, hold on. Freddy died with fire.
I was thinking the same goddamn thing, man. Jason died to water. There's got to be a way we
Hold
can
on.
use that.
We gotta, we gotta be able to use this somehow.
Oh, man. So, Kristen, supposedly attempts suicide, and we get introduced to Weston Hills.
Okay, I wrote this down in my notes. I'm just going to go ahead and, because I did a little bit of research. Okay. This is 1 year after part 2. And I looked it up, which was 5 years after the first one. So 6 years.
Yeah.
Nancy was 16 in the first one. So Nancy is a 22-year-old psychiatrist. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's impressive. That's all I have to say. That's impressive.
Well, yeah.
And she's specific in dream patterns.
She's
impressive.
They were talking about like she was doing groundbreaking work.
Yeah. 22 years old.
Hey.
I was still living with my parents. Impressive.
More power to her, man. That's a lot of college credits to be getting in high school, especially whenever all of your friends are dying around.
Well,
I guess you have more time to study.
that's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. You don't have any
Yeah,
friends
we gotta
taking
get
up your
away.
time anymore. You're not doing shit on Friday night.
No.
It's like, let me go
Absentee
ahead-
dad,
Yeah, let me go ahead and
drunk
work towards
mom.
This, let me go ahead and work towards this degree.
Yeah.
Nothing else to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Just wanted to point that out.
Well, hell, absentee mom and
Who?
dad. Fuck the dad. The mom fucking killed herself in the living room. Remember?
Yep.
She talks about this too. Like later on, they introduce Hypnosil, right? Well, they introduce it when she drops it out of her purse. They introduce Hypnosil, and I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to ask this question now. It's mentioned that Hypnosil is a experimental drug because what was that guy's name again? What did you say it was?
Gordon. I
Gordon.
think.
He's like, you want me to prescribe an experimental drug to these kids? So who was giving Nancy Hypnosil? If this is an experimental drug that's apparently, not widely used, she's getting it somewhere.
Well, if she's a wonderkind, I'm assuming they're just like, yeah, we trust you because you're big galaxy braining over here.
Well,
She's mixing that shit up in her basement.
that's another point that I have in here too, in my notes, is Nancy's supposed to be this prodigy, and every time she makes a suggestion, people are like, "No, we're not doing that. That's crazy."
Well, she's still 22 years old. She still is 1 year out from not being able to drink.
Hey,
Yeah.
you don't bring in Tom Brady in and not let him throw passes.
No, but at 22-year-old Tom Brady handed it off a little bit more than he did
Yeah, but that
when he was
before-
older.
Okay, let me rephrase that then, because he wasn't.
That was a
considered-
bad example. Yes.
Okay.
Nailed your ass. Got your ass.
You didn't draft Peyton Manning to not let him throw passes. What about that?
Well, I mean, you take the Manning route. I mean,
Because he was.
yeah, and he threw 28 interceptions his rookie year. She could be dead ass wrong on this.
Oh my God.
Boom. Got your ass.
I hate you so much.
No, seriously. Daniel, do you want to make
I'm
Bone
ready about
uncomfortable?
Baseball, so I don't have much time.
No, this is basketball, brother.
Oh fuck, man! I don't know shit about sports. God,
You want to make Bone uncomfortable?
that's embarrassing. What?
Tell him how much you love him. I love you,
That we're gonna
Bone.
Try to
That
hug.
doesn't bother me as much as it used to.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, the medication I take.
What
is
about
maybe-
the hugs?
I'm a little better about that too.
Okay. I love a good hug. From friends, it's nice. It really is.
Nice. A warm embrace.
Hell yeah. We all need it. But I do love, and we skipped over it because Josh has got a small bladder.
I believe you just wait for me to move on to something else so you can be like, we skipped over this.
No, I was just going to say,
We're good for this
it was
every
in the
episode.
credits. It was in the credits, and I had to go pee. And I love, and I think y'all both do as well. I just want to shout it out. I love Lawrence Fishburne. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Not big time actors, but everything he's in, he's just like a uncle. And
so we didn't skip over it. We just don't talk about the characters as they're introduced in the credits. We just wait until we get to them in the movie.
yeah, and he says, and he meets Dr. Gordon, and he's like, all these kids are trying to kill themselves, and he's like, I think it's all these parents who took acid in the 60s,
Yeah,
and now their
acid
kids
heads.
are suffering acid heads. And then Dr. Gordon's like, well, that's an interesting theory, Max. I think it's all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll the parents are blaming it on now.
I thought you said
And
that
I
was
was just-
somebody else's theory.
Yeah, it wasn't his. I don't know whose it was.
Get
I
it
thought he
right.
was. No, it was.
Get it right.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you. It was Nurse Ratchet.
Nurse Ratchet. It was probably that one doctor that brought Nancy in and then immediately turned against her.
Yeah.
The actor who gets one scene.
The female doctor that's the one that.
No, Nurse Pratchett didn't bring her in. No,
Oh, was she a nurse?
no, she wasn't a nurse. But
I was about to say because she's got a lot of fucking power to be a nurse.
she wasn't a nurse, but she's the Nurse Ratchet character. Because this movie is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Breakfast Club, which,
I know.
good on you.
The scene where they're going through the air vents trying to hide from Freddy. just gonna let that
Say
marinate.
what now?
I'm gonna let that sit.
Daniel,
I'm just gonna. Daniel's miles away.
Yeah, Daniel heard breakfast
No, I was
and
trying
started thinking about food.
I was trying to see if there was any air vents in my house that I could get into to hide from you guys in this podcast. No. It's I was looking to see what the lady's name was. Is it Dr. Elizabeth Sims?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was it.
You could say whatever name you wanted to, and I'd just be like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think too. Like I guess it was Dr. Sims.
Yeah.
I know that
Bill Maher says Sims in this movie.
You want to hear my note I have written down for Lawrence Fishburne?
You mean Larry Fishburne?
Yeah,
Yeah, Larry.
way to jump to the fucking end of the story, Daniel. God damn it. Yeah, my notes.
Was that the
No, my notes literally read Weston Hills, Larry Fishburne.
Well,
Kristen admitted Nancy shows up.
And,
timing.
you know,
Yeah,
This is one of
you-
those-
No, the doctor's name is Neil. God damn it.
Neil Gordon.
Is the
Oh,
dog.
I don't know his last
Is
name.
The dog. In Friday the 13th, Part 4.
That's the reason why I remembered it.
Oh,
Because of Gordon in part 4.
You
The-
remember Gordon more because he was a better character?
The beautiful golden retriever.
Yeah.
The good dog.
Oh, yeah.
my notes are so basic on here.
No, I do love the character who wanted to be a... You know, like the screenwriters sort of patted themselves on the back when they came up with this. I forget her name. She wants to be a TV star. She goes up to Dr. Gordon. And she's like, when will I get my cigarette privileges back? And he's like, don't hold your breath. You know, they like high-fived at that line. You know, don't hold
no.
your breath.
It's so funny. That's just a funny thing, too, where it's like, when can I get my cigarette privileges back? And it's like, you keep fucking burning yourself. You're not going to get them at all.
Yeah,
You make jokes about it.
Exactly.
You make
Letting you
jokes
see
if
about
you
it.
hospital.
if you want the privileges back, maybe you shouldn't point out the marks on your wrist and be like, "That's a menthol. That's a whatever."
Ultralight.
Yeah.
It's a regular.
Yeah,
It's like, you don't even want to see the black and mild.
she's gonna be like, she'll start calling out brands next time. Be like, "Well, that's a Cool, and that's a Marlboro, and that's a Newport, and that's all the brands I know." My dad used to smoke Cools. That's the only reason I know those. Do they still make those?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Liggets. They still make Liggets.
Do they?
Yeah.
Holy
It's like a Walmart
shit.
brand, like a Murphy's brand.
Wow.
Fucking Liggets.
They had the hole at the filter, right?
They did. They don't anymore. I think because
Okay.
Nina still smokes Liggets. The Vantage.
What was the hole?
Vantage was the one that had the hole in it.
Is that to
You
bypass
Okay.
the
had
filter?
a hole in the filter because Dad used to smoke those. I think that when I started smoking, it started like thieving cigarettes from my dad. I think that he was smoking like Cambridge. Wasn't that?
Yeah,
cigarette? I think that's what he smoked. Yeah,
Wow.
fucking
These
cigarette.
old school cigarette brands, man. I love them.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Wow. Whoa.
Do you remember? And I don't even know why we're fucking talking about this because I don't smoke, so it doesn't really fucking affect me. But you remember the old cigarette machines where you could just go up and for a couple bucks buy a pack in a vending machine?
And you had the lever.
A couple
Yeah.
of fucking quarters. Because
Yeah.
back then it was that cheap. Throw a fucking few quarters in that bitch, 75 cents or something, and you pull the little lever, it pops a fucking pack of cigarettes.
We were in a bar in Arlington, Texas, and they had a machine like that, and it was
God bless them. God bless them. That's America.
Do you know how many fucking quarters
Fucking-
you have to put in that fucking thing these days? Fucking $10 a pack. Sitting there for 45 fucking minutes, feeding this fucking thing quarters.
You gotta have like 95 quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
the good old days. Back when they didn't card you to buy beer and stuff.
Oh yeah, they don't card me anymore.
No,
Past that age.
they don't me
I
either.
got cigarettes for Courtney the other day, and then the chick didn't card me, and it's like it's whatever. I don't really give a shit, but it is like, damn, it does sting a little bit. Whatever it's like,
I know.
'cause you see it pop up on the thing. It's like, does this customer look under 40? Because if they look under 40, you're supposed to card them. So whatever, it's like, no, this motherfucker's definitely over 40.
I know.
I'm 38 and a half, asshole.
38 and a half. Yeah, it's and then it gets to the point when people do ask for your ID, you just feel like they're doing it just to be polite,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and you're
for
just
sure.
like, God damn you!
Yeah.
Like, there's no fucking happy medium. There's no. It's just you don't get carded, and you feel bad. You get carded, and you feel bad.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror and you
See,
see
I'm-
all the gray in your hair, and you feel bad.
That's what I was just about to bring up. See, me, I'm bald, so I fucking shaved my shit off, and I don't really have a lot of gray in my like eyebrows and facial hair yet, so I don't have a whole lot of gray going on. So whenever they don't card me now, it's like, fuck, man. It's just funny. But I did get away for a long time. Like, he had brought up Aaron before. Shit, dude, Aaron started graying at like 23. Like, that dude was fucking stressed ever since the day I met him. You know what I mean? He was talking about his 401k at 15 years old and shit. So, what am I going to do about retirement?
Oh man, shit. Excuse me. Let me read another note. That way I can move us along. Neil sees none. Amanda Kruger.
Yeah, and I think this is. I mentioned it prior, but this backstory is unneeded completely. Like, Freddy can just be this entity, this demon,
Yeah.
did his crimes, got punished for it, and they came back. Like, you don't need this bastard son of 1,000 maniacs storyline. It's like you could introduce the nun character and give no backstory about his mother and just say he's a demon.
Yeah.
You need to put him underground. You know, he needs to be buried in consecrated ground. This,
Exactly. He could have just went to just someone and talked to somebody at a church.
yes.
That's literally all he had to do for that. Because I agree. And it does give him a little bit of backstory, and that's cool too. But you did start a whole, process that you have to cover enough to where it's not bad, but you are wasting time as well, and you have to make that all make sense. When it could have just been, one of the kids could have had a fucking cross on, and he could have thought about it as he was talking to him, like, maybe I should go to church, to a church, and ask them.
Well,
Like,
less
demon.
backstory the better. That's the reason why Michael Myers worked so well in the first one.
Yeah.
He just goes crazy, and Jason's just out for pure revenge. We don't need to know about Elias, or where Jason goes to hell goes, which is in fucking insane. Like, you don't, like, could you imagine? I mean, just the story that this movie tells of a woman being trapped in a room with 100 crazy guys. Like, could you imagine the smell of this room?
The
God,
First off,
pretty terrible.
a little bit.
the Amanda Kruger stuff doesn't bother me. I think it was fine, like in this movie, in small doses. I thought Amanda Kruger was kind of creepy. So it didn't.
100%.
Listen,
100%.
Yeah, it's funny because I found her creepy whenever I was younger because she was an old lady and stuff.
Now you just find her attractive, huh?
Now, I mean, she's a total smoke show. That scene gets paused for about 20 minutes for some meat time. No, but it is funny because now it's like, damn, you kind of feel for her a little more, and it's just like I don't find her as creepy as much now.
And it's so funny because when you say you find her creepy, of course, it's Amanda Kruger, this actress. I mean, she's like all jawbone and this predominant cheek. I mean, there's her facial features are just so like predominant. But also this movie, like I have this, I bought like this on iTunes. I've had it Blu-ray, DVD, never VHS, but and I watch it on iTunes, and it still kind of has this VHS quality, but there is still, I don't know if y'all noticed this, and Daniel, it's been like 2 months since you watched it. I don't know if you can remember it. This movie has this 50s sheen to it. Like the colors are muted. Like even part one you watch, and it's like, oh, this looks like a movie from 1984. Like, however they shot this movie, it's so muted, and it's kind of striking how they did it because it just, I don't know. Like, we'll skip to the 1 year later in 1988, Dream Master. It's kind of loud. It's a
Yeah.
loud movie. The colors, even
It's like they're back in the 80s. I get what you mean.
yeah, but this one doesn't. Outside of like some shoulder pads and some hair, like it is so flat, so dull, and I don't even know if like because I don't think Dream Warriors is it. I know it's not 4K on iTunes, but even if you pop it up to 4K, this movie's still gonna give you like the same feel to it. Like they put almost like a brown gauze over this film.
Yeah, I think that too. A lot of that's probably going to be just the fact that they're stuck in that fucking hospital for so much of it.
Even outside shots though, with the Amanda
No, that's-
Kruger.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at. Because, see, for the most part of the movie, like, the majority of the movie is all inside a hospital. So it's all bland and everything anyway. So then whenever you go to an outside situation, it's either nighttime or that specific scene that you're talking about whenever it's daytime and he sees her and then he starts following her around and then she's nowhere to be found. And it is, I do understand what you're meaning because I did notice where it was real dull, especially like you said, if you were to watch fucking Nightmare 1 and then Nightmare 4, those are movies about kids in the 80s, but this is just like, I guess it's, I don't know if they wanted that tone because of, the depression aspect of it, how depressing a hospital can be and a psych ward and these things, I don't know. But it is weird because it's like, hold on, just because these kids are going through this doesn't mean that the outside world has dialed it back a notch.
It feels like you're watching it from another decade.
Yeah, people are still wearing pink lightning bolt sunshades out there.
Yeah, Dawkins is.
I'm glad you understand what I was referencing.
Docking.
But I will say this though. This is the best Langenkamp performance to me as Nancy. Like of the three films that she comes in at, we'll get to New Nightmare eventually. She's good in this. I can't say that for the original or for New Nightmare. Here, she's good. I mean,
Yeah, the New Nightmare thing really doesn't really take play in here though, because if you think about it, New Nightmare, she's not Nancy, she's fucking Heather Langenkamp.
No, she had to
I'm talking
play-
about as a performance.
She had
I'm
to
talking
play-
about as a performance.
She had to play Nancy one last time.
Yeah, of course, I understood that, and I'm guessing that that's whenever a thing. I guess y'all don't have any love for New Nightmare, but I did like New Nightmare. I did enjoy that one, and that's a conversation for that one or whatever. But it's funny because I don't know if I would agree. Like obviously, she did have more in this one than in the first one. Where. I don't know. In the first one, she was so scared. in the beginning, and then she had to find her strength and then find her, whatever, and then she did become the bad bitch, final girl, change things up or fix things. But in this, she had that confidence with it from the get go. So yeah, I think that this one, she's, it would be better than that first one. But I feel like in that second one, not the second one, in the next one that she's in, that she had to bring so much more to it, because then now she also has a kid. The emotions of having your kid and protecting your kid and knowing this shit and being confused because what the fuck is happening, because, we've brought this motherfucker, made him real by telling all these stories.
She's asked to do a lot in New Nightmare.
Yeah. She has to play a bunch of different roles, kind of. That's the only reason I was not totally in agreement.
You're allowed to disagree with Josh. It's okay.
Apparently not, because that motherfucker just wrote something down.
He was taking notes. Yeah.
Good. It's like Daniel off of the wheel.
Kill. I got a kill list, and I just
Move me to the top.
No, it's a pretty long list, but yeah, top 50. No, okay. Then we're introduced to Philip. Anybody know what Philip's from?
Wait. Let me do it, Josh. Let's back up real quick. We skipped over something. We're introduced to Joey and his tier.
No, we're introduced to Philip first.
Whatever. I still stand by what I said.
Okay, because I have a Joey note. Joey's done hard time.
I just got Joey got that tier.
Yeah, Joey's done hard time. You got a teardrop on your eye? You've served time in prison, brother, and you've killed somebody. Philip,
Say something about Philip. I'll say something about Philip too.
does anybody know what movie he's from? 1 year earlier?
Fuck. I'm trying to mute my sniffling.
We fucked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry, guys. I've been kind of congested the past couple days, and it alternates between being congested and having a runny nose.
That sucks.
Yeah, that shit's going around. That's going around. Hell, Richard's kid has strep throat. Lizzie's kid last week had strep throat. Hell, Courtney had the flu a few weeks back. You know how it is in Mississippi. The change is so drastic that you go from fucking 90 degrees to 30. Everybody gets sick at once. So
Yeah.
shit's going around, man. You know how it is.
What movie is he from, Josh? Because obviously we don't know. We just talked about sniffling.
No, he's in 2 movies. I just remembered. He's in Stand By Me. He's one of Eyeball's gang members. And he's also a gang member in Last Crusade. So Philip, this actor, had a pretty good 80s run.
Philip. Let me see what I have wrote down about Philip. Philip. Knock off Corey Feldman. Because he sounds like he's trying to sound like Corey Feldman in this movie.
He does. Hard.
He's even got a Corey Feldman haircut.
A little
That's
bit.
what I was thinking whenever you first said it. I was the haircut. 2 and 2 together on that.
I would do a Corey Feldman voice, but I can't.
Like, is it because of the sniffles?
No, I can't do one. You do one.
Well, I could do any impression. I could say that and then follow it up with, but I can't.
No, when I say I can't, I mean I can't. I've never practiced one. I'm sure it would sound like shit.
No, I could say that literally about every person ever.
Unlike my, unintentional Kermit impression I do sometimes, apparently.
Look, I'm not going to do it for the pod, but I read to my daughter the monster at the end of the book, at the end of this book, with Grover from Sesame Street. Not bad. My Grover's not bad. Not bad.
And now you're just gonna fucking leave it hanging. And
I'm
nobody's gonna hear it.
gonna leave you with your dicks hard. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so
Oh,
go ahead, Bone. Sorry.
I was just gonna say kind of like Snake Freddy.
Hey, little shout out too, because I've got that note. This was before Beetlejuice as well. So,
Yeah.
Dream Warriors.
Very true.
Yeah.
When you originally watched it, did you ever think about a dick?
It's funny because I do remember in that making of, they did talk about like how when they first did it, they're like, oh shit, this looks like a dick. And they had to rush to sort of change the color of it.
I
They
never.
made it green and slimy, and to be honest
Yeah.
with you, it still
That looks
pretty
like
much
a-
like a dick.
That looks
It
like a dick.
does.
When
It
you
looks
pull that
just
out,
like a dick.
That looks
Turn it
so
around.
cool though.
Oh,
that is definitely,
it's real thick and shiny and veiny. I mean,
Yeah.
and you got the helmet head.
it's a good one.
yeah, you don't know nothing about that, Bone. Be quiet.
Fucking stupid.
You don't though. You don't get to comment on circumcised penises.
Oh. Well, let's just put my business out there.
Damn.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody knows, Bone. Go ahead and might start fucking writing your apology a letter to everyone. Because you're about to get fucking canceled, bud.
Yeah, you know, we've put this out here. We've been recording for almost 90 minutes. We're like a minute away from 90 minutes.
Yep.
And we haven't got to the first kill yet.
We haven't even introduced Kincaid.
I blame Josh.
Obviously. I have been a motor mouth.
No, even if you
Yeah,
weren't
discuss-
talking, even if
discuss some interesting things.
even if you didn't have shit to say, I'd still blame you.
No, that's fair too.
Because fuck you.
Well, my beautiful circumcised penis.
Yeah, anyway, so yeah, we meet Kincaid at some fucking point. Somebody might have got introduced before him, but Kincaid is
Violent.
a very memorable character. And what's fucking hilarious, I think I told Josh about this a couple months ago, but I was watching something, and this guy was on a podcast, the actor that plays Kincaid, and he was talking about what he did whenever he went in for the interview, or not the interview, but the audition. But he went in, and in order to get to the audition, it was like this nightmare of a fucking day where he was having to rush to get there. It was fucking raining, and then he was having to run the rest of the way, or some crazy ass story, right? Where he was fucking soaking wet and just fucking livid. But he finally made it. Well, when he got in, they had been auditioning all day. So and he had learned his lines, and he was ready to give it his best shot. And whenever he went into that fucking room, they were like pretty much done, you know, and they were like, man, look, don't worry about running lines, just do whatever. And that fucking pissed him off, and he starts going off on the people, on the casting.
Chuck Russell.
Casting people.
I think it was actually
Going
Chuck
off
Russell.
on 'em.
Yeah.
Fuck you, fuck this, motherfuck that, blah, 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 goes off, and that fucking got him the role. Whenever they left out, they were like, that's Kincaid. And
Yeah.
him being mad and giving them the business, being like, fuck you, got him the fucking role of Kincaid. And I think that might be why he's so goddamn over the top. Because he's like, well, that's exactly what they want. I'm just going to fucking go off every scene. And you can tell it, because some of it is overdone, you know? And some is being generous. Have you ever heard this story, Bone? Or did I just
No, I have not. You blew my mind.
Checking me right now?
No, I'm not fact checking you. I would never fact check you, Daniel.
He's like,
Now, Josh-
actually, that's how Nancy got her role.
Daniel, I believe everything you tell me. Unlike that piece of shit, Josh. I fucking can't stand him.
I do want to circle back to the snake,
Of course you do.
and she pulls Nancy in, and that's where we first learn that she has that power. But I do love that scene though, because the snake starts eating Patricia Arquette, and Nancy comes in, stabs him in the eye, and it's just this. To me, it's just really well made to where like she stabs Freddie in the eye, and he looks up, and Freddie has no idea that Nancy's alive.
Yeah.
And he looks at her and he goes, "You."
Yes.
And then she realizes it is Freddy because she's not sure. And then she says, "Oh my God, run!" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's so good. That's so good how they first meet." Yes.
Yeah. Because see, now Nancy, instead of being like, "Oh, you're having trouble with dreams," and then even if she's like, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this figure," without
She hasn't brought up Freddy yet.
Yeah, she hasn't at all. But I was saying that even if she had, without describing him completely, Nancy would probably be like, "Yeah, we all have nightmares. Whatever your nightmare is going to be different from everyone else's. So I'm understanding of this. This is my specialty. I'm fucking the best there is at it. I'm a fucking phenom." But anyway, the fucking fact that whenever she sees what is attacking this girl is fucking Freddy Krueger, and the look on her face, you are right. That is a fucking great scene. I love that shit.
I do, before we get 0 tweets about it, I will say that she should have kind of known it was Freddy when her and Kristen's first introduction was finishing off the nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
But still, she never mentioned it. She never mentioned it, but you think you would. Like, how do you know that?
But another question about their introduction. Do you think that Nancy was a little, just a little bit happy that she had such an influence on Freddy Krueger that, like, now he's like, you know what, I like this crib? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I really like your house. So from now on, when I torture people, I'm going to bring them back to this place. So it's like, man, he can't get over me. The one that got away.
You know what? I like this layout. I like when I open the front door, there's the stairs right there.
Yeah. No shit.
Right there.
Well, I mean, that is a perfect scenario for if you ever, like, want to go sledding and get a head start. We've seen that in a couple movies, and I've always wanted to try that.
Hey, speaking of Home Alone,
And you fucking go on out of there.
speaking of Home Alone, man, when the furnace opens up in that movie, because I just watched it with my daughter a couple of weeks ago, it's like, you all kind of got this from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
A little bit. Admit it.
All right, now
Okay.
it's full blown on Home Alone, okay? So what pisses me off so much when I'm watching that movie, because it is on all the time during the Christmas season, and it is a classic, shit, I think I was like 5 years old when that shit came out. Like, I don't know. Bone's looking it up now to tell me that I wasn't even fucking
Well,
came out or some shit, but
you're still a baby now,
Yeah.
so you were even a younger baby then.
exactly right. But anyway, man, like, the audacity of that family to be such fucking assholes on this fucking trip that is being paid for by their family member to Paris. Like, because they're all complaining the whole time. Their fucking child got left behind. And they're like, okay, but when are we going to be able to go? Like, this is bullshit. And until he, like, pays for this big badass hotel for them to all stay in, they bitch the whole time. And then they're like, all right, this is all right. Man, holy shit. Every time I
Look.
see that, especially as I get older, I'm just like, fuck that dude's family. Or her family. I don't even know whose family it is.
Look, because I just watched part 1 and 2 with Isla. I will stand by Home Alone 1. I get your complaints about it. It's still, like, enjoyable. Part 2 is not good, though. Part 2 is bad. It's a shit movie. It's a shit movie. But okay,
Oh,
Wait,
boom.
you're talking about Home Alone still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you've done checked out.
Okay.
Let's keep it moving.
Well,
Let's keep it moving.
Hold on. I'll say this about Home Alone. You know you're watching Home Alone for like the last fucking 20 minutes of that movie. Who cares what happens before then? Just get to the hijinks. Let's see people get shot in the nuts.
I like it. I like it throughout. I'll admit, I do. That first one, yeah. It's all like a warm, cozy feeling for me. I mean, I watched that movie on repeat in my youth.
I saw that in the theater.
I did too.
It's crazy. It's very surprising. I know that he was a child star and he had his issues and all of that, like, or fucking Hollywood did whatever Hollywood does to child actors, whatever the case may be,
Michael Jackson does whatever he does.
I mean, whatever, right? But, fucking, it is strange.
Macaulay Culkin.
Right?
Yeah.
No. You derailed me with the Michael Jackson because it is strange because like Corey Feldman, right? Everyone knows that he like went through it, right? And he like still loves Michael Jackson to this day. You know, like so. Most people don't. Oh, I mean, some people do. I guess whatever.
Well, he didn't.
Let me not talk about things I don't understand. Let's
He
continue.
didn't
I was
say
gonna
that.
a motherfucker that's like this guy abused the shit out of me. Till 40 years later is like he never
thought-
did anything.
well, I was gonna say
that
Corey-
was the narrative, but he's crazy.
Corey Feldman didn't say anything about Michael though, ever did he? He just said that Hollywood was predatory.
Well,
No.
he did say that he was. They would like fucking. Everybody kept asking him, about the whole Michael Jackson thing, and he was, always defending him.
It is crazy. Because I never watched Finding Neverland. I haven't seen it. It is crazy how Michael Jackson took a liking to Feldman, right?
Yeah,
I know Feldman wanted to be him.
yeah. Still does probably in some ways. Because
Yeah.
like whenever I've seen a recent concert where they're doing this thing because he does the "Cry Little Sister" song, and he fucking does it. He fucking puts everything he's got into it. You ought to look it up. He doesn't do it that bad of a job, but I think that's like just what he has left to hold on to nowadays. I don't know what it is, but he is giving it everything. But
Yeah.
but he's still got that glove, rocking the glove, rocking the fucking the hair. Like he's still got a little bit of that Michael Jackson style to him.
There's a clip going around, and I'm going to say this, and then we can move on, of Corey Feldman in concert. I've seen a couple of him just being Corey Feldman. And he's got his backing band or whatever, and he's sort of got his head turned saying something to him. And he's trying to be cool, and I guess that's what makes it even more cringe. And when he turns around to sing, his entire teeth hit the mic.
Oh, that shit popped out on him?
No, but like this is the mic. He's saying something, and when he turns around, his mouth completely just fucking just crashes into the mic, and then people laugh because they're recording it on a camera, and then he has to play it off, and it's so bad.
See, I
So
thought
have you never seen him do "Cry Little Sister"?
No,
It's
No, I'm gonna check it out, though.
Probably about to do that song or just and he might play the song 5 fucking times, and that's the whole set. I don't know, but just watch it because I mean, hey, it's not half bad, and he's giving.
I thought
everything.
I thought Josh was about to say that his teeth flew out of his mouth.
That's
like
what I was
he had
thinking, too, 'cause
dentures.
I know that he was I know that he was an addict and shit, and that shit fucks your whole shit up.
no.
But
Well, you have
rich
to.
enough to get,
Yeah, you'd have to see it because it looks like his teeth hit the mic. His mouth hit the mic
yeah.
because he was trying to go in and sing.
I guess the
and-
mic moved a little closer to him while he was looking away.
It makes me feel bad for him, and I don't need to feel bad for him.
When a microphone sidles you, you got issues. Yeah, Bolt was definitely not paying attention because that was our Seinfeld reference.
I'm paying attention.
But anyway, y'all
Keep
can
it
talk about
going.
Bringing it back. So here's the
we
Keep it
knew
going.
what the
They're all
hand
fucking
signal
introduced.
meant.
The hand signals don't work anymore because we're video now. Now you just walk away and we'll
Yeah,
keep going.
Josh just wanted to put a part in there. You think I'm going to edit this, but I'm not. So it's just going to be
Tell the
keep going.
listeners, I'm gonna go jerk off for 10 seconds. Give me a minute. Don't tell the listeners what I'm doing. But anyway, we're introduced to all the characters and shit, and it's funny because now we're already at the worm Freddy. But it is funny watching that documentary. It did look straight up like a dick, and then whenever they painted it up and made it slimy, the color isn't looking like a dick anymore because there's not any green dicks out there, green and red. But yeah, but the shit still looked good. Like I said, whenever she stabbed him in the eye and everything,
Yeah.
it still looks good. I think.
Let's talk about Philip some more. Oh, here comes Josh. He'll probably want to say something. God, oh my God, I hate him so much. Hey, Josh, how you doing, buddy? So, Philip, let's talk about Philip's death though, because we are way into this podcast and haven't. Oh my fucking God, Josh, what is it now?
No, I was
Please.
saying let's keep it moving. Let's please keep it moving.
Oh,
When
I was
Macaulay
trying
Culkin
to,
was
and you
in My
waved
Girl.
your hand.
I agree. We need to
Oh,
keep
God.
keep it rolling on.
You know what? Since
What were you saying, Bo?
everybody's going on tangents, I just want to put this out here. There's this new Hawaiian place that's opened up in Tyler. Apparently, it's really good. After I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to buy some.
Yeah, it's probably a poke bowl place. Love poke bowls.
Anyways, back to Philip. We're talking about Philip. So, I think Philip's death is the first death. It's the first death in the movie, but it's the first death I think we get from Freddy where it pertains to something the character's into. So, like, you see Philip and he's made puppets, right?
Yeah.
You know, he makes a little comment. He's like, they should be carved out of wood, but they won't let me have a knife because I might cut my wrist. But anyways, Philip makes
Oh, yeah,
puppets.
yeah, yeah.
Philip's into puppets. Freddy, when he gets ready to kill Philip, and for me, hands down, best death in the movie. One of the best deaths in the franchise. Maybe the best death in the franchise. I don't know. I have to go back and watch them all again. But Freddy attacks Philip in his bed while Philip's asleep. You know, he tells him to be quiet, and all of a sudden Philip can't make any noise, like he's fucking Joey. And Freddy cuts his arm, his other arm, his leg, his other leg, and he takes the fucking veins and uses them as strings.
Yeah, that was really like a real, like, brutal
And-
death.
And those special effects look so good. Like when you see the close up of the veins coming out, like the arms and legs and shit, it just looks gnarly. And you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be.
Puppet.
Oh, God.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've got that
He's
one.
the
Love
little
it.
puppet guy.
Love it.
Go ahead and just disagree with me about something.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I'm not even trying to be like speaking hyperbole here.
Oh.
I think this might be my favorite death in horror movies. Philip's death. Like, hands down. I love it that much.
You're just a
It's a
one-
bold statement.
You're a one-upper,
but-
aren't you?
Jesus.
I say something, you got to say something more.
I'm trying to compliment your compliment. Like, that's how much. If you think he loves it, wait till you see how much I love it.
Right?
No, and then Kincaid. Do you have that wrote down, Bone? In Kincaid fashion, he's like, "Have a nice stroll, asshole."
Oh, no, I forgot about that. Yeah, he's like, hey, wake your ass up. He's like, whatever. Kincaid's not a very good friend. Kincaid knows
Especially if
that
they-
there's people trying to kill him in their dreams, and Kincaid's like,
Yeah.
something fishy's happening. He's walking with his hands in his arms in his really fucking contorted way. Yeah, whatever, I'm going back to sleep.
With this fucking just fear all over his fucking
Yeah.
face.
The night nurse. How does she not see him?
Yeah.
Because they cut to the night nurse, and she's just like taking
She's
notes.
too busy trying to fuck Joey.
No, this is another night nurse who doesn't have a speaking role. But yeah, there's
She was still
This
probably trying to
hospital
fuck
is-
Joey.
Oh,
yeah, this hospital is pretty down to clown.
Yeah, this hospital's like
Well-
4 years away from being completely shut down.
I don't have it in my notes, but I was thinking it when I watched it because they want to say that Philip offed himself, right?
Yeah.
But this man goes into like a restricted part of the hospital that's fucking locked up.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, we'll get to the other death that makes no logical sense that they don't investigate.
Yeah, we're probably thinking about the same one because I said I was going to talk about it later.
Yeah. They did call, and they're like, yeah, Joey used to be a debater in school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Now he's a chronic masturbator. This dude's just, he's using all his energy to jack off. Like, he's just,
That's why he can't talk. He's always exhausted.
that's it. He's so dehydrated.
Exactly.
Fucking worn out.
Sand in his mouth. Just 'cause all the cum coming out. I don't know why I said that. Like, I didn't have to say. Yeah,
You said it too close to each other.
out of his orifices. Yeah.
So Philip takes a dive.
Yeah, he's dead.
I thought Josh might have had something else.
No, I've got a lot of notes here. Sorry.
I paused so you could speak. I'm sorry, Daniel. My bad. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say it is really crazy because all of them are looking up to him and they're screaming to him to try to wake him up and all. They all know what the fuck is happening. They know that he's not about to fucking kill himself because they know that he is just as suicidal as they are because they're not fucking suicidal. They're just, whatever the case may be. I mean, unless they were all suicidal and then Freddy's like, hey, man, I'm going to go after some easy targets. I'm going to give these kids what they want. But that ain't the case. We all find that out. So why are they still freaking out, yelling to him to fucking stop?
To get him to wake up.
I mean, yeah, but they're all acting like it's like, don't do it. They know he's not going to fucking do it.
They do act like it, yeah. Yeah.
And then afterwards, they're like, he didn't kill himself. We all were fucking acting like it.
Well, the problem is these kids aren't communicating with each other.
No, they're not.
Because then they would be like, hey, this guy with a burnt face is chasing me. But apparently they don't even talk about that.
Well, that's because you know how it was for 80s parents. Whenever your child come and said, hey, this guy with fucking burnt face is trying to kill me in my dreams, they're just like, no, you just need to go to sleep. You need to just rest. So they don't listen. So why the fuck would your friends listen?
Which is the same thing that this one fucking, the head doctor or whatever, she keeps,
Yeah.
she's like, what they need is some good uninterrupted REM sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's her answer for everything. These kids are telling you that like shit's bothering them in their dreams. And she's like, well, you know what you should do? Sleep more. That'll cure you.
And in another movie, because this character is obviously she's not our antagonist, but she's antagonistic towards our victims. She would die, just like this orderly who is trying to get the hookup with Taryn.
I got that in my notes too.
Yeah.
Clean pharmaceutical high.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some predators in this fucking place.
There is. In any other movie, he would die. But in this one, I'm assuming he lives a good life afterwards.
He lives a clean pharmaceutical high life.
Yeah.
You know?
He lives. Probably a good guy now.
Probably. That it changed him. Fucking Weston
Yeah.
Hills changed him.
It really did. It is really wild too because going to the next thing with Joey, right? Like it's funny because it's like, okay, he didn't try to kill himself. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Y'all keep talking about this, you're not listening to us. And then it's like, okay, and then so now Nancy's gonna side with the kids and like try to see it from their way. And it's like, well, why don't we try this? Dude, she convinces Neil so quickly because at first he's like, no, we can't do that here, and then it's like, oh please, and it's like, okay, we're gonna do that here. Like I swear to God, it seems like she convinces him and changes his mind so quick, and then he's like, all right, cool. And now, because we were talking about it before, he is on board with Hypnoseal. He's on board. He is doing whatever. Fuck these kids' futures. He's just trying to get with Nancy.
Yes. He's single. She's got titties. Yeah.
It is funny because it's like these kids don't want to sleep because they're going to die. Nancy has confirmed this. And now it's like, all right, well, let's look. Here's what we're going to do. We're not going to go to sleep. Don't worry. We're just going to go under some hypnosis real quick. Trust me.
Let me do a
And then
Josh.
they're all fucking clocked out now. Joey's fucked.
Whoa. We skipped something. Let's go back for a minute. Do I sound like Josh when I do this? Because I'm trying.
Are you about to talk about a fucking lamp that was in the background?
I'm not going to talk about a lamp that's in the background. That's my Josh voice, real deep. So let's talk about
Props to that prop manager.
that one
Whoever
girl.
you
I
were.
can't even remember her name. But the one girl that had her cigarette privileges revoked, she's in the fucking common room or whatever you want to call it, watching TV. Larry Fishburne comes in there. And he's like, yo, you got to go to bed. And she's like, no, I can't. Not after what happened to Philip. I just can't. Not.
Oh, damn, I completely skipped her. That's right.
Yeah, which gave me the opportunity to be Josh for a change, and it feels great. It feels fucking amazing. If you've never pretended to be Josh, I recommend that you go out and do it right now. Anyways, so she's watching fucking TV, and you know she's like, "No, I can't go to sleep." And he's like, "All right, but I didn't see you." And so she sits down and she's watching fucking TV, and she's smoking a fucking cigarette that's in the ashtray.
I've been there, Daniel.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then
Hell, if there's still some meat on that bitch, get your nicotine high grade.
And it's the worst cigarette you've had that
Oh,
day.
dude, well, the first couple puffs are pretty terrible.
let me
but
tell
then
you.
You get used to it.
let me tell you, as a non-smoker, it's also the smelliest. Like relighting a cigarette that's been put out fucking stinks.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
So she burns herself, you know, so she can wake up. And then this, at the time, you know, people might not know who she is now, but at the time had to be a pretty big get. We get our first like fucking celebrity cameo in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. We get Zsa Zsa Gabor.
And Dick Cavett. Don't forget about Dick Cavett.
And I remember Zsa Zsa.
Yeah.
I used to watch Green Acres.
See, I don't know Zsa Zsa. Who is Zsa Zsa?
She was in
I just
Green
know the
Acres.
name.
She was on.
Was she?
Yeah. She was the wife.
I'm learning something. Legit. I did not know that.
So yeah, and you know, she has and God, I wish I could remember her fucking name, but anyway, she has a dream of, you know, going to Hollywood or going to LA and being an actress. And then, you know, she goes up, the TV starts fucking up on her, so she goes and she's trying to turn the TV off and on, flip the channel, whatever, and it's not working. And then fucking arms come out of the TV and grab her. Freddy's head pops up out of the TV. He's got fucking antennas on his head. You know, it's just a really cool scene. And he's like, "This is your big break. Welcome to prime time, bitch." Which,
Yeah.
clever quip, not overly corny, but it did lead to a bunch of corny shit. But no, you don't get to speak yet. Man, this is my thought, Josh, because I know you. Because if I let you speak now, you're gonna say my thought, and then I won't get to say my thought, and it just becomes a whole big thing. He's got her in his arms. You know, he tells her, "Welcome to primetime, bitch." And then he throws her head through the fucking TV. Now, there's no way, and I'm sure this is where you were going, Josh. There's no way that a person could kill themselves like that because she doesn't have anything
the
that she
TV's
could have.
Fucking 8 feet off.
Yeah,
off the ground.
and she's fucking hanging by her head in this TV, and she has nothing below her that would have been like, "Hey, I jumped up here." Philip's death, you could have been like, "Yeah, that's suicide," because it could look like he jumped. I don't know how he got into the restricted area, but this other girl's death, how the fuck did she do that? How did that? There's no way that's suicide.
I feel like
No.
it's a Dumb and Dumber moment afterwards whenever the nurses and shit and doctors are talking to each other. Like, what the fuck is going on here? We got kids who won't sleep. They're burning themselves with cigarettes. Their fucking heads are getting stuck in TVs.
Right?
You know, like, and it's like you said, Bone, like he has that one quip that is good. He has two quips, though. Like, "This is your big break." Like, that would have sufficed.
Oh my god!
And then "Welcome to primetime, bitch."
Just one up me again.
I'm not, Jesus, I'm not trying to one up you. I'm just saying there's two quips in
I'm
this.
just fucking with you.
And this is where he begins the infamous bitch. Because he even continues it on sexy boy Joey's chest.
Yeah.
But this movie, all they had to do was when Max came into the room to see her, Jennifer, I think her name, I don't know.
That might have been it.
Yeah, just put like a step stool underneath the TV. You know, because she couldn't reach the TV anyway when she went up there. You know?
Yeah.
Just put it right underneath it to where, like, in theory, she could have jumped up and smashed her head through it.
She's like fucking Michael Jordan, man.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah,
remember
no,
the-
her feet are dangling.
You remember the old Coke commercials where Michael Jordan would slam dunk the Cokes up to the treehouse?
I do not.
Yeah, some kids would be in the treehouse, and I don't know, they were like, "Oh, we're some little piece of shit, 8-year-olds. Man, a Coke would really go good right now." And here comes fucking Jordan, just jumping up there.
Tuck. Fucking
Here's a
glass shards
six-pack.
in their eye.
I'm just laughing at the piece of shit 8-year-olds. Like, good God, Bonus had some fucking tough run-ins with 8-year-olds.
They killed me when I was playing Halo 3 one time,
Yeah.
and then told me how they was gonna fuck my mom, and I'm like, "You little motherfuckers are supposed to be in school. It's 10:30 in the morning."
And then they grew up and you still play with them.
Yeah,
Like,
turns
just-
out that was Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we're at the group therapy session. Now we have two characters who are dead, and this movie doesn't have a high body count. Again, like, because it's so well paced and such a tight script, like, you don't need that many deaths. And I wrote in my notes, we were 45 minutes into this movie during the group therapy scene.
Yeah.
And Freddy has been on screen for maybe 1 minute.
Less is more.
Yeah.
It's effective. This movie's fucking effective. Less is more. Yes. Yes. And then they do the hypnotizing. I don't know about y'all, and I'll admit it on this podcast. I've been in a perpetual state of depression and anxiety.
You know,
Probably before Michael, but definitely after Michael. So a perpetual state of tiredness. And they do this scene twice, this hypnotizing scene with the,
oh yeah,
what do you call that, Bone?
a pendulum.
A pendulum with the light. I find myself getting tired. Every time I'm like, yeah, I could go to sleep to this. Yeah, I'm almost there, buddy. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Like,
Josh wakes up and tries to do some flips in his living
It
room.
really works.
yeah. I mean, that's so cheesy. That is so cheesy. It's like her power was already given to her. She
Yeah.
could pull people into her dreams, but now she's Mary Lou Retton.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Let me read my note to you. Kristen can do fucking flips. Like everybody got some cool power, and Kristen can do some fucking flips. Well, I say everybody got cool power because the junkie didn't. She just got some switchblades.
Yeah.
yeah, but she's in leather with the switchblades. That's kind of hot.
But
It's crazy as hell because like
Taryn?
me, what
Tamron?
my thought is
Yeah.
Taryn. But my thought with this whole scenario is, what fucking hypnotizer hypnotizes himself? You know? It's like, what the fuck? Because he's literally just, you know how they do.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, as you're watching this, you're starting to get sleepy, your eyes are getting heavy, and you're going to allow yourself to rest. You know? And then it's all of a sudden, this motherfucker's passed out too.
yeah. I thought about that when I was watching it. So nobody ever wakes up from the hypnotism, right? Because there's nobody there to like be like, when I count backwards from 3, you'll be awake.
Hell no, it's just,
It-
what's her name? Fucking go to, what the hell is going on here?
In the original Craven script, he does this to them, and they just disappear. Like, Kristen's able to bring them all in, and they just disappear. And the nurse comes in and is like, "Where's the people?" And he's like, I was like, "I don't know."
I don't know.
Court buddy.
I don't know. I got my doctrine, but I can't keep up with kids. You
It's
know.
like, I don't know, this is the first time that hypnosis has worked for me. I did not expect this. This was
Can-
not on the tape. I guess I
I'm-
didn't flip sides.
Let's
I'm David Blaine.
Yeah.
let's go back though.
I
I
don't
just
know.
want to reemphasize this. Kristen can do fucking flips. All the things in the fucking world you could have had, like powers you could have had, and you're like, wouldn't it be great if I could do a flip?
But what's even funny about that scene is that the kid in the wheelchair, the guy who's into Dungeons and Dragons, but we can't afford Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
He stands up from his wheelchair. He's like, "I can walk." 0 steps. Stand still. Like, he just stands up. Like, I mean, you can peacock there for a little bit, buddy. You know?
In my dreams, my legs are strong.
Can you show us? No.
I'm gonna sit back down.
That's like everybody
I'm tired.
reacted to old fucking Kristen doing a couple of fucking flips.
I know.
Fuck you, Kristen. You could learn to do that in real life.
You really?
Get a real power, bitch.
Kincaid just fucking starts destroying government property.
Yeah.
I can bend some metal, guys.
Yeah.
And at this, and when we're getting all the powers, Joey has fucking slipped out because he saw the nurse.
His power is that big ass dick. So he's about to go use it.
She's like, Joey, you know, I always thought you were cute.
Check out my big, huge fake tits.
And look, I mean, if I can only imagine sitting in the theater as a 15-year-old being like, yeah, I've had that fantasy. It's just some girl being like, I've always fantasized about. I mean, because it's never happened ever in the history of man.
Yeah.
Just some girl being like, you know what? I've always thought about you. No, wow, that doesn't happen.
That's not part of the rule book of their game.
No, exactly. And it's just like, especially if you can't talk.
Oh, shit.
Like, you literally have no game. You're on the negative plane,
Yeah.
you know? And I do have this, like, because she obviously, they start kissing, their tongues become one. And then, like, she spits tongues at him. And I have this written down in my notes because Freddie comes up, obviously, and he's like feeling tongue-tied. It's actually worse than prime time,
Yeah.
but it's kind of good too at the same time because he spits.
Later on.
Tongues.
Yes, tongue. He
'Cause
gets
he is
tongues on.
tongue-tied.
Yes, it's kind of good and bad at the same time. Like,
Yeah, whenever you were saying the shit Bone earlier about the TV and everything, like that is that moment. And
Yep,
watching
that's it.
all of them through, that's the moment that it's all downhill. Like that's how you know. That's when you know what's about to be coming, and it works and it's good throughout the rest of this one. But then it just and like we talked about it before, so it's not a surprise that I enjoy 4 more than you guys do. But it gets bad, and then 5 is just a complete drop off, and then it just gets worse and worse.
well, past 4, you're beating a dead horse.
Yeah,
You know, because I'll give 4 a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
yeah.
Does Joey keep the scars on his stomach? Come and get him, bitch.
I mean, you would think that's straight razor blade cuts. I think that's.
They look pretty deep.
I think he still got that. Oh yeah.
It looks pretty gross. How do you not address that in part 4?
See Joey's dead body and it's just fucking like scars.
No,
Well,
well, starts
they're-
at a beach. I'm not Jason. Joey's running. And then when he turns around, he's still got "come and get him, bitch" on his chest and scars.
Well, I remember Dream Master. They actually have a talk about Freddie at the locker. Kincaid, Kristen, and Joey. Like, how does Joey just not lift up his shirt and be like, I still have the scars to prove that, you know, just something. Because that shit is deep, like you said, Bone, and it's gross. And because we've been watching Giallo, Daniel, and you need to watch Giallo horror movies, I looked at the nipples. Oh, thank God they were intact. He managed to miss the nipples.
Dude, you remind me of that. Now
Giallo loves cutting off nipples,
Now I'm
man.
rubbing my nipple.
No, I'm holding.
They cut a nipple in half in the New York Ripper.
Yeah, I'm holding my. I mean, it's bad, Daniel. It's bad. I can't watch it. I can't watch it.
Yeah.
You gotta watch New York Ripper, man. Okay. I'll keep us moving since I'm the one slowing us down. Unless, Bone, you want to take the lead on this?
I can read you more of my notes and just move us forward.
Yep.
Oh, so yeah, okay. Joey gets kidnapped by Freddy, and they're like, we got to go in and, well, then the other fucking head doctor comes in. She's like, I'm shutting you down. You two are done. Get the fuck out. All these kids are about to take a long ass nap because that's going to cure them. And, you know, everybody's like, no, you're going to kill us. Ah, fuck this, fuck this, fuck. And I'm trying to move it along pretty quickly at this point. So,
Because unfortunately, we're going to lose me on this. I'm going to have to give my thoughts and rankings well before it's finished.
we're about to speed through this. Here we go. So, Nancy and Neil go to visit Nancy's father. You know, they talk to him. You know, he's like, Freddy's dead and buried, blah, 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 whatever. Nancy's like, oh, what are we going to do? You know, and then Neil's like, I'm going to go back in there and talk to your dad. You go back to the kids. So Nancy goes back to the fucking hospital, goes back to Weston Hills, talks to fucking Larry Fishburne, you know, and Larry's like, you know, I wouldn't let you in here if it was me, if it was up to me. Blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, let me say goodbye. He's like, okay, because I'm just all about breaking the rules all the time. You know, you fucking did it with Jennifer. Now you're doing it with Nancy. Nancy gets the kids together, hypnotized. We're going in. We're going to go save Kristen. Or not Kristen. We're going to go in and save Joey. Kristen's going to pull us into the dream. We're going to use our sweet-ass dream powers, which Nancy didn't get any, which doesn't make any fucking sense. You know, Nancy didn't get a power.
Well, she's old now. She's not a kid anymore.
I didn't know it was age restricted.
Keep it moving. In the original script, she didn't have a power either. She was the one who brought them together.
Oh. So she was like the wise old Jedi.
And she was told all this through her dad.
That she doesn't have any powers?
Yeah, Donald Thompson is the one who told her about the Dream Warriors and about, like, it's her job to bring them together. Kristen was the key component in that. Keep it moving.
Okay, so we're in the dreams, and now we're getting. There's only 3 more deaths, not counting Freddy's. 4 deaths if you count 5 deaths. I'm sorry, 5 deaths. There's 5 deaths left. Yeah, 5. The first one. Well, I guess before we get there, let me backtrack real quick. So Neil goes back in, talks to Donald, and he's like, you're going to go fucking help me. You know, you may not care whether Nancy lives or dies, but I do. You know, we got this relationship, and we're going to have a happy life together, and you're going to fucking help me save her and save these kids. So he has Donald take him to where his remains are at, which happens to be in a junkyard. So they go in there to do that. While they're doing that, we got the Dream Warriors going to save Joey. So fucking we get Taryn. Is it Taryn? Taryn. We get Taryn first. She fucking runs into Freddy, and you know they have their little fight. She pulls out the switchblades. Freddy cuts her with the glove. She stabs him in the ribs. And then Freddy he's like, you want to get high, and he pulls out his hands, which is a cool fucking special effect when you look at it. He's got the needles in his fingers. But then she's got the fucking sores on her arms that are opening up, and they're like little mouths trying to feed.
Yeah.
And that was such a cool visual. Then he stabs her in both of her arms with his needles and fucking kills her with an overdose, I guess.
I'm just gonna say this right quick, just because I want it on record. I don't know the actress's name who played Taryn, but I think she's my favorite performance in this entire movie. She's so goddamn good in this movie. So goddamn good. Keep it moving. Sorry, I just wanted to.
No, it was better than Will. Will kind of annoyed me. But yeah, so she dies. Well, there's one Dream Warrior down. Then we get Will, who's walking down this long hallway. Freddy shows up, and he rolls out the fucking wheelchair. And I can't remember what Freddy's quip was. He said something.
I didn't even write it down because this is the weakest fucking scene in the movie. Yeah. Even outside of the Amanda Kruger shit, that's not needed. This is weak as shit.
So,
I mean, he's a wizard who looks like Dracula.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Freddy sends the chair at him. He dodges to the side of it. You know, he gets sliced by it. The chair turns around, is coming back at him. He's like, I'm the wizard master. And he destroys the chair. And with his wizard powers, he attacks Freddy. Now, this is what I don't fucking understand. He's shooting lightning or something out of his fingers like he's the fucking emperor in Return of the Jedi. You know what the Emperor didn't do when he was zapping Luke Skywalker? He didn't rush at Luke Skywalker so Luke could fucking stab him with his lightsaber. He stayed back and he just zapped him. Will, in all his infinite wisdom,
that's the whole point of a range attack.
exactly. Will, in his infinite wisdom as the Wizard Master, fucking rushes Freddy.
Yeah, because he can walk. In his dream, he wants to show it off.
He walked
His gait.
He walked right to his death.
Yeah, that's a good looking gait, though, as he did it.
Gates. So
And then Kincaid.
go ahead.
No, I just want to say this because, then we cut back to Kristen and Nancy, and they hear pounding on the wall, and it's Kincaid and his superpower. He breaks through the wall, and then Kincaid is on one, man. He is pissing fireballs and shitting lightning bolt at this point because he's like, "Yo, Freddy, where you hiding? You burnt faced pussy, Kruger." Pussy! He's just yelling, pussy! Freddy Krueger, you pussy! You burnt-faced pussy!
And then doesn't Freddy disappears at this point because he has to go fight.
Well, he does show up, and they do because they get down there and they see Joey tied up, in hell's beneath him. And they go in there and they have this, I can say it, admittedly. It's a cheesy fight, and Kristen's sort of flipping over Freddy.
Yeah.
And then
She
Freddy
runs
picks...
up the wall and drop kicks him.
Yeah, and then Freddy picks up, I think, Kincaid. And at this point...
Yeah, he's got him by the throat.
And we've skipped over it, but we're rushing through this. Donald and Dr. Gordon are trying to bury Freddy's bones.
Yeah, well, we haven't
And
skipped over. We were transitioning to it.
Yeah, but at the same time, they go to see him, and now he was a lieutenant,
Yeah,
Thompson, and now
we talked about that.
okay,
Well,
y'all talked about
Yeah, we talked about them going to the bar, and
how he's a security guard now.
we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, he's been demoted,
So
and so at this point, Freddy knows his bones are being put in the hollow ground, and he disappears to go fight them. Yeah.
and he kills Nancy's dad.
Kills John Saxon.
And then he knocks out Neil. He shovels some dirt on him. He shovels a couple things of dirt on him, and then does a fucking victory dance.
Yeah, and then he's like, all right, I got to get back to the other shit I got to do.
But he does a victory
Surely
dance.
this is all fine.
He raises his arms and does this shit.
Yeah.
Like Neil's not
This
even
is
dead.
some Ray Harryhausen shit that I know people hate on now. I kind of love it
Oh, I
just
like
for
it.
its.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it still looks good. Fuck that. Yeah, so he goes back, and they've saved Joey, from falling and whatever. They pick him up, and then Freddy starts pulling them all through mirrors. And then Joey's superpower activates. And Joey's superpower is he can fucking speak.
Yep, and it's loud.
Yeah. Talk about a letdown.
Banshee. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Just want to make sure I got it right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Nailed it.
I just want to say it's a fucking letdown. That, oh, you can talk. Big fucking deal.
What also sucks because they lose their powers immediately following this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I can only imagine that if Joey, the first words out of Joey's mouth in my mind would just be boobs.
Yeah, tits or pussies in a non-aggressive way.
Yeah.
Just like sexually, it's like, pussy, I love it.
Because Joey's a fucking horn dog.
Oh, yeah.
He's in this mess because he thought the nurse was going to, sleep with him.
Well, he served time, man. He wasn't around women. So now he's trying to play catch up at 16.
Him and Dominic Mysterio, they did do hard time.
Hard time.
Hard time. So Joey fucking screams, and everybody comes back out of the mirrors, and they're like, "Oh my God, Joey, you can talk! It's amazing! Wow, it's so great! You can talk!" And we get Nancy's father. He comes down, or well, they say it's over. They're like, it's over. They think Joey killed Freddy, and they're like, oh, it's over. And then here comes Mr. Thompson. He comes down. He's like, I've crossed over to the other side. And he tells Nancy he loves her, and she's like, I love you too, Daddy, blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out, surprise, motherfuckers, it's Freddy. And he stabs her in the stomach. And there goes Nancy Thompson.
The way they set that up, chef's kiss, I love it. It's like, I've crossed over, baby, and they hug. And then he turns into Freddy, and he stabs her. It's so good. Such a good moment in this, a scene that you wouldn't expect from 1987
Yeah.
Dream Warriors.
And then, while that's going on, like, I think Nancy ends up stabbing Freddy. Neil wakes up, climbs out of the fucking ditch, got Freddy's bones in there, douses him with the holy water. And, you get that scene where you see Freddy and, like, the lights coming out of him and everything, which is a cool scene.
It is. You get the cross on the forehead.
Oh, yeah, the cross on I forgot about that, the cross on the forehead.
Yeah.
So, Freddy's dead for now. We have Kristen, and I will say, I'll give Patricia Arquette some credit here too, because when she's holding Nancy's body, she's going in on the crying, and she's like, "I'll dream you like a wonderful dream" or something like that.
It's crazy how we've gone this entire episode and not mentioned Patricia Arquette as Kristen, who, you watch this movie and you're like, yeah, she could be a star, and she is to this day a working actor who puts out great performances. And yeah, she started here, I will ask you this. Okay, and then we cut to the funeral for Nancy, I guess. And he sees Amanda Kruger. He follows her. He finds out that she's been dead this entire time.
Yeah.
She was sort of like this apparition that was trying to help him. And then we cut to Neil sleeping, and he kept Kristen's papier-mâché house.
He also kept Nancy's little dream guardian or whatever it was.
Dream Guardian, yeah, which is right in front of the house. The light comes on. Mm-hmm. Now, I've always thought that this was Freddy, but people have made it out like it was Kristen. No, Nancy. When you watch it, who do you think it is?
I always thought Freddy. I never really
Me too.
thought that it was, because I figured it was just one of those things like New Line Cinema, right? The house that Freddy built.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Freddy's still making money. Are you really going to end it?
Well, that also, and I paid attention to the music sting because I wanted to see. Mm-hmm. And it was like a high-pitched horror, like not a gentle, relaxing,
Yeah.
And even in the Craven script, it ends on this as well. And it was implied that it was Freddy.
Paper mache or paper machier?
Paper mache.
It's
Paper-
paper mache.
Paper machete.
No, it was my Seinfeld reference.
Oh, okay.
You remember, God, it was the one girl or whatever, and was it with George? And she's like, and he said paper mache, and she's like, it's paper mache or some shit. I can't remember. Whatever. Fuck
I
off.
don't remember that one either.
Yeah.
And the Seinfeld shit I do remember. I don't remember the Simpsons stuff as much as you, but Seinfeld, I got that shit on lock most of the time.
Credits roll. Dream Warriors kicks in. Daniel, I know you just had some family pop in, so we'll let you
Yeah,
go
that's why I
first.
popped out for a second because I got a lot of out of town family showed up, and yeah, I wanted to go say hi, and now I got to wrap up and go host.
Well, we're done.
But
What's your
yeah,
final
man,
thoughts?
Dream Warriors is the fucking bomb. I love Dream Warriors, and like we've said, it's hard whenever we're doing all these in a row because the final thoughts are a lot of the similar things, just like the first, like first time you've ever, messed around or watched any nightmare movies. But I think it's a great installment. I think that it's fucking amazing. And unfortunately, like we brought up, is the beginning of the end, man. Because that little bit of goodness, it was like, oh, I like how they did that. Made it a little more fun on top of the scary and everything like that. A little bit, lighten it up just a little bit. They start doing that a little too much. And whatever. But this one is a gem. Even the things that we poke fun at, they're pretty little, they're not, like I made the joke about the person, falling asleep that's doing the hypnotizing. Little stuff like that, as we continue, it's going to be very little things that are good or make any type of sense versus most of it not. But I always enjoy getting to this one. Like I really like Dream Warriors, and my rating on it is up there as well. My rating on Dream Warriors is a 4 stars coming from me. Wow. Actually, no, I'd say 4.5 to be honest with you, because it's one that I could watch a million fucking times. Like I do think it'd be about a 4.5. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Josh. Continue.
No. I know. I'm just trying to speed this along. I'm trying to keep it moving.
Yeah.
To me, this is the nightmare movie. For me, this is where they get everything right about the character. They take Craven's ideas and they make it better because Craven needs help in that, and that's been proven with the first Nightmare, which is that last third act is kind of comedy. We've been proving it on this podcast with Shocker and the people under the stairs.
Son of a bitch.
I'm saying, like, those two movies, there's elements of those that are really good, but Craven needs to pass them off to somebody who can polish them up. I mean, even though he taught English in college, but this has got great characters, a scary Freddy. I think part 2 might be a little bit more scary, but not by much. It's a great story. It could lose the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs, though. The beast in this movie kills the beauty, which you didn't get at that time, I mean, you had Final Girls in Friday the 13th, but they didn't come back. Nancy Thompson was an important character, and they killed her off in this movie. And now that doesn't seem that big of a deal, but in 1987, it kind of was.
I agree. I hate to stop you there, but I was out for that. But I was going to say that was a bold fucking move to kill off, especially by Wes Craven, because he loves the Nancy character. He loves that. It's not just another final girl for him. Nancy is Freddy's opposite, like yin and yang. She's not just another, final girl for him. So it is very big for him to kill her off.
It's damn near perfect for me. I think the music could have been creepier in points. And with this movie behind us, for me, we've covered the best movie in all these franchises right now.
It's definitely one of the top.
I mean, Halloween for me, 78, TCM, 74, Friday 4, and now this. I love this movie. It holds a special place in my heart, and I'll be honest when I can separate nostalgia with my love for it. But this is one of those instances to where that that Venn diagram bone. Nailed it, buddy. It perfectly coalesces, and this is a 4.5-star movie for me, easily. This is the best friend. This is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which I think Freddy's the best of the 4 that we're covering in terms of a horror villain. The movies aren't the best. I think the movies are, Halloween, Friday 13th as a franchise, but this is the best of the Nightmare on Elm Streets for me.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to take my time. No, I'm just kidding. Just to put it down.
Bo, he's stroking his goatee.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
my little hairs. I agree with Josh. It's my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Also, it's the last Freddy movie that's scary. They get cartoony after this. They progressively get worse after this. I think this is one of the rare cases, although it's happened twice, because Josh hit on it with Friday 13th Part 4. But it's one of those rare cases where I think the sequel's better than the original. You get one-liners that are pertinent to the situation, but aren't just overly cheesy to where you're just like, oh, groan, this is cringe, or whatever. I give it 5 stars.
There you go.
Because I'm not a hater.
Fucking A.
5 stars is a good start.
Yep.
If I had balls, I would give it 5 stars.
Well, and that's the difference between me and you. I live life on the edge. You're just fucking taking it easy all the time.
I'm taking up space, man.
Yeah.
But I will say this
Dude
before we
abides.
leave. The dude abides. This is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, mixed with The Breakfast Club. I mean, and it's taken a little bit from both. But you watch this movie in those lenses, you can see it. I should give it 5 stars because I do love it that
Quit
much.
being
But
a chicken shit.
No, I'm gonna give it 4.5 because that's what I wrote down. But who knows? Like my star rating fluctuates between half stars. I've noticed. I'll watch a movie and then I'll rate it on Letterboxd, and then the next day I'm like, well, that should be a half star lower or half star higher. But hell, I even said it's damn near perfect. I think a better score would push it over, though. This score really comes up short for me. It does. Especially coming off Part 2 score, which I loved. But, okay. Well, Daniel, tell people to hit that like button and subscribe or whatever people do with
If
buttons.
they don't know to do it now, they're not going to do it.
We could be reaching new people,
But they're
damn
going
it.
to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. We don't have to tell them. They're
But-
like, this was fucking amazing. I'm going to like and subscribe and share.
But tell them, Dan, they need to hear it from your voice, man.
How about they read it from my t-shirt?
I love it. I give that T-shirt 5 stars.
Yeah, I give the t-shirt 5 stars too. But, all right, be good, everyone. Thanks for listening and watching on my part. I'm going to let the other guys
That's
say
it.
bye, and I'm going to
You're
disappear.
doing
That's
it.
it. We're out.
We'll see you.
Deuces.
All right, let me download this a couple times.
Jesus. I could have gone longer, man.
I know, I could have too.
I had so much to say about this movie.
It's funny because we went 3 hours on the very first one when we talked about 3 movies, and then we just went, 2.5 hours here?
Yeah. Could have been longer, too, because we just blew past John Saxon. Mm-hmm. He got no love.
It's
And
true.
especially after watching Tenebrae, man, I could have gone 10 minutes on John Saxon.
Oh, all right. Well, I gotta I better go grab a few groceries and then get something to eat. So I'm gonna head off.
All right, brother.
All right.
That was a good episode, though. I think it was pretty solid.
Go ahead and end the Twitch stream. Thank you everybody for watching. See you next time.